Good morning, Kilo. I think you're the first one here. To be fair, I always have to get started on TikTok, and it takes me a minute. Takes me a minute. Heck, please. I'm live. Do the thing. No, you don't want to do the thing? You're pain. Oh. I think my tick affinity is tripping out today. Okay. See if I can get it loaded up. Oh. Oh. Okay, now you say you're live. I don't know. Sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate that as we get started. Hello, Michael. Good morning, Scuba Steve. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's get some music going. Sorry. Trying to figure out my tickfinity. It was being a pain. My show. Hello. Buenos dias. Steve, yeah. That's it. Scuba Steve, we're going to start with elections and see where that gets us. It won't be the whole show, but we'll see how far it gets us. And then maybe economy. That might be about what I can get to today. We'll see. I've got lots of stuff. I just never get through it all. How many pages is it today? It's 9. 9 pages. I usually get through about 4. Oh yeah, I'm just feeling a little nostalgic this week, okay? Warrior Women Wednesday. We're working on something kind of like that. It would be a nighttime thing versus daytime. You have good news. Oh, I'm going to go over it, Kayla. I'm excited for you guys. Keep tapping, guys. Let's get going. If you're watching on YouTube, thumbs up, please, as we get going today. All right. Good morning, everybody, no matter what woke time zone you're in. I appreciate you guys being here. Why does my... Oh, it might just be the... Yeah, it could just be the 90s like warming filter that they put on the video. I don't know. It looks a little. That's too bright. I don't like that. Mm, yes, no. Do we like the brighter or I don't know. I don't know. You guys make the determination, but we are going to get started this morning. Good morning if you're watching on TikTok. If we can start tapping that screen, please. I'd appreciate it. You guys did fucking fantastic. What did we hit? Did we hit the 400? I think we hit the 400 yesterday, didn't we? You guys are fucking amazing. I can't even say enough about you. So that means you guys can do it again. Yeah, we did. We did, Chicken. We hit the 400. So AM and PM are opposite in parts of Europe. Huh. But let's keep tapping. That means that we can do it again. I'm not expecting 400,000 out of you, but I do at least expect 300,000. I think that we could get that accomplished on this Wednesday. So, let's get to tapping, get those fingers moving, whichever way you tap. Let's get going to start getting that like bar going across the screen. I would love that. Yes, are kidding me? I did see that. I don't have that in my outline, but I did see that. While I was scrolling yesterday. Wild stuff. Send your daily heart me if you have not done so. That should be that little heart next to my profile picture up here at the top. If not, you should be following me. And if your heart's grayed out, I'm super, super disappointed in you. So make sure you hit that daily heart me. Oh my God. Thank you, Sparky, for the meteor shower, completing out one of my gift gallery goals. That was one of the big ones that's in there. So W's, thank you. Spark for that. We appreciate it so very much. So hit your daily heart me though if you have not already. It does give you access to stickers in the chat. We got lots of fun ones of my face in there that you can use. Share the live out. Repost it now before I pull stuff up on the screen, because then TikTok gets a little bit toddler tantrumy about what I show and it doesn't let you repost. So repost now, as Oya put there. Thank you guys so much. Share it out, add it to your story, share it to like 5 of your friends or whatever group chats you have on TikTok where you send silly videos, send me out as well. It does help push us out onto that algorithm. I would appreciate it so very much. We have the roses down here that we need to get accomplished. I always start out with those little 1 coin gifts, whatever, it helps push us out onto the algorithm, so that's why I do it. But don't forget, as you saw with Sparky, thank you so much for the meteor shower, we are trying to accomplish the gift gallery. That, if you click on my profile picture, it is going to say C4 gift gallery. Click on that. All of the ones that are grayed out are the ones that I need to complete. Now, yes, you would have to send the entirety of it. So if it says the little hearts that are grayed out, you have to send 2 for it to be completed. I know that that is expensive in way of TikTok change, but if you happen to have it, let's try and light that gift gallery up before the end of this week. That would be amazing. Thank you so much, Queen, for the galaxy. Hello. Thank you for the conversations yesterday, by the way. They infuriate me, but I think that they're conversations worth having. Thank you, Oya. I love you, Oya. And so I thought I was thoroughly enjoying myself yesterday, going between my Discord chat and like your chat, listening and commenting about it. I love that. I would have gone up there, but I had children and they're loud and didn't want to crash out on your panel because I respect your panel. All right, so make sure we're filling out that gift gallery. Guys, if you're watching over on YouTube, if you could hit that thumbs up button for me, it helps push us out onto the algorithm over there on Shorts. Again, I do have a call number up at the top of the screen. I go into this looking to have conversations with Trump supporters based off of factually based evidence and not your feelings. I don't want to talk about why you voted for him in 2024. I want to talk about why you're still supporting him based off of policy and factually based evidence of how it's beneficial for the American people. If you can't or unwilling, that is what liking it with a thumbs up will do, is help push me out so that maybe we can find somebody who is willing to, has the time, what have you. We'll see. But I would appreciate that. You can also, you can subscribe, you can become a member, you can send jewels, and you can send super chats. In case the chat starts going by too fast, or you just like to support me and have something you would like me to read, a super chat ensures that I read it. So it is helpful. Thank you so much. Let me pop this chat out real quick because I always forget to do that. Hello, Twitch. I see you guys over there. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys are not following me, please do so. I'd appreciate it. You guys can also subscribe over there. Gives you access to emotes that are similar to the stickers that we have over here on TikTok chat. And you can send bits over there as well. Remember, if you pay for Prime, Jeff Bezos gives you 1 free Prime sub a month. Why not use it for me? Why not? And as always, guys, I have my 150 goal that I have every single day. This is my job. It's what I do for a living. It is how I pay my bills. I paid water yesterday. Thank you guys so much. And so if we would like to crowdfund and pay for women's labor, because labor, especially by women, should not be free. If you guys like capitalism, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all in the link tree in my bio. We can $1 train, $2 train, $5 train, however you would like to get to that goal within the 3 hours that I'm live. That would be amazing. Sorry, let me replace this over here on TikTok. And then there was something else I was going to do. I feel like there was something else I was going to do. Maybe not. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was all I had. Okay. Let's get into how I want to do this. Oh no, I know what I was going to say. I remember. Speaking of that goal, thank you so much to Scuba Steve for starting us out with $10 for Let's Get the Day Started Right. W's to Scuba Steve for getting us started with that $10 donation. Gets us down to $140 to start our day. We love that. Thank you so much, Scuba Steve. I still wipe my own ass. I promise. I've been working on it every day. All right, let's get started with some elections. Let's get started with some elections. We covered it on Friday, the Michigan Senate race, but we also covered midterm Monday, just saying that it was going to be statewide primaries in multiple states, including Missouri. So let's talk about Missouri first. Okay, we're going to read the headline, but then we're going to get into the more important stuff versus the actual candidates, to be honest. Missouri U.S. Rep. Wesley Bell wins a Democratic primary rematch against former Representative Cori Bush. U.S. Representative Wesley Bell won Tuesday's rematch in the Missouri Democratic primary against former Representative Cori Bush, an outspoken activist who had been part of a progressive group of House members known as the Squad. Although Democratic socialists like Bush have made gains in other places around the country this year, she fell short while running to reclaim the St. Louis-based seat that she lost 2 years ago. Now, here's this. As was the case in the last campaign, Bell was backed by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, which lobbies for U.S. support of Israel. Bush has denounced Israel's military action in Gaza. But Bell said the race came down to his work in his district, not international affairs, and he pitched voters on a more pragmatic approach to Congress. That seems to be the consensus. The consensus seems to be that although we are seeing DSA candidates do well, and we will talk about that in a minute, the issue is that you have to parry that. Right? You have to parry that with what you're going to do for your state. It is not enough to just say, fuck AIPAC and fuck foreign money and not give a plan for what you plan to do for the people in your district. And I think that's where Cori Bush, the consensus is what it seems to be, is that's where Cori Bush fucked up, is that they were not focused enough on actual, policy decisions that were regarding the people in that district in Missouri. And Bell was. So, seems to be where it is. So, what I want to go to instead of that, though, is going to be the ballot measures. She had plans, I know that. Right, but were they digestible? Were they registering with the electorate in Missouri as a whole is going to be the thing. Like, does it translate? Right? Because we've said this. We said this when Zoran won, right? The rhetoric that Zoran used in his campaign, while widely popular across the nation, doesn't necessarily translate to places like Missouri or Arkansas or, you know what I mean? And I know you do. I'm not speaking to you. Just in general, the royal you. Abdul El-Sayed might work in a swing state with a large, population, Muslim community and DSA community. Wouldn't necessarily work in Idaho, right? Okay, sorry, I have to reset this again. If they don't, where is Joe Biden's ice cream? Where's Joe Biden's ice cream cone? He likes ice cream. We like to give him ice cream every day. There it is. There's Joe Biden's ice cream cone. All right, there you go, sir. You can have that. All right, meanwhile, Missouri voters defeated a pair of unique ballot measures backed by the Republican-led legislature. One would have required all citizen-initiated constitutional amendments to pass in each of Missouri's 8 congressional districts instead of by a simple statewide majority, a high standard used by no other state. That's insanity. That is insanity. When you take a constitutional amendment, okay, we know we did one in Colorado in 2024 for abortion. Abortion is enshrined in our Constitution now, WS. But that took a simple majority, right? A statewide majority. We put it on the ballot in 2024. Coloradans voted on it, and we voted in the majority to enshrine abortion into our Constitution. To take a citizen-initiated, meaning they got enough signatures to put it onto the ballot for a constitutional amendment to pass, that it has to pass each of the individual 8 districts to be able to go off as if like and that's not even like a 2/3, like a constitutional amendment, right? That's wild. So they rebuked it. The constituents in Missouri, the voters in Missouri rebuked that, shut it down. Absolutely not. The other ballot measure would have directed lawmakers to repeal the state's individual income tax while authorizing a state's sales tax expansion. So what they were trying to do is similar to states like Florida, trying to get rid of income tax and be reliant on increasing a state's sales tax. Missouri said no, they do not want to do that. So they don't want to do that. And then that just goes into the candidate in themselves. So, I mean, good job, Missouri, for standing up for yourself and what you have your power of in way of your ballot measures, in way of your amendments. We're glad to see that. I'm glad to see that. Okay, so although the DSA candidate there lost, I do want to bring this one up real quick. This is a different one in Missouri Michigan House. Congressman is ousted by Democratic Socialist in Michigan House primary. Representative Sri Thinator is among a wave of Democratic incumbents in Congress whom primary voters have sent packing in a surge of anti-incumbent fervor this cycle. Democratic primary voters ousted Representative Sri Thinator of Michigan on Tuesday, according to the AP, nominating a Democratic Socialist for a deep blue district in the latest sign of the party's hunger for new blood. Mr. Thinator narrowly lost to Donovan McKinney, a state representative in the 13th Congressional District, which includes parts of Detroit and its suburbs. The race was called on Wednesday morning. We're seeing that a lot this morning. They're trying to play catch up. Both candidates are progressive and support policies like funding universal health care and abolishing immigration and customs enforcement, but Mr. McKinney, 34, who is black and grew up in Detroit, has contrasted his background with that of Mr. Thinator, 71, an Indian immigrant who was elected to Congress in 2022. Mr. Thinator's victory that year left Detroit, a city that is roughly 3/4 black, without a black representative in Washington for the first time in decades. The primary also highlighted Democratic voters' continued backlash against lawmakers who support Israel. Mr. McKinney has condemned the war in Gaza as a genocide and campaigned with fellow pro-Palestinian Democrats, including Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, the progressive candidate in Michigan's marquee Senate race. Mr. Thinator, in contrast, has consistently voted to fund aid for the Jewish state. That works in a place like Michigan. It absolutely works in a place like Michigan, and we see that. So we continue on. Did I turn my phone lines on? I don't know. I did. Okay. Let me back up. That really zoomed in. I zoomed in so you guys could see it. So I'm going to play this because this got called by a couple places last night, but mostly now we're getting the consensus of the call of the race this morning. But before I do, holy crap, W's to Kelly, and I mean huge. I want to see giant W's to Kelly for the 53-53 for women's work. Thank you so much. Now I have to do that math, by the way. So we sit there and do that. But don't focus on me doing math. You just focus on giving W's to Kelly for that. I should have known. I thought it was in my head. I just wanted to double check. Huge W's to Kelly for getting us to our favorite number over here in this community, and that is 8647. So thank you so much, Kelly. Chicky, no. Don't focus on my math. We don't like it. So, all right. I'm going to pull it from Kornacki. Kornacki was one of the ones who called it last night. Why did I say it like that? I am not from the East Coast. Called it. Kornacki called it last night. We're now seeing CNN this morning, AP this morning. Lots of places that are now going off about who won the Senate primary in Michigan. You're not going to be able to hear it. I caught myself. Look, I did it. I didn't even need a sticky note.
This is an NBC News special report. I'm Steve Kornacki. American voters in 5 states hit the polls on Tuesday, and I've got some major results to share with you, starting in the state of Michigan, where Abdul El-Sayed has won the Democratic primary for the United States Senate. He defeats Congresswoman Haley Stevens. This was a very close race here. You can see there are still a scattering of votes to be counted, but El-Sayed currently leading Stevens by 2 points.
That's what's being projected. I don't know where Peter is, but thank you, Chicky.
Oh my God, I have crabs.
For giving me crabs. I do have to make sure that I get crabs every single day, or it won't be consistent. And that would be very, very upsetting. Tex 1738. Listen to your husband. About what? No, I'm genuinely asking. What should I listen to my husband about? Do you know my husband? Do you know him? But I should listen to him about what? Anyway, the projected winner in the primary race is Abdul El Sayed. Donald Trump yesterday was asked about the possibility of him winning, and so we're going to play this from yesterday.
Sir, thank you for doing this for us. We very much appreciate this.
Actually, he's in the box. I'll bring him. Oh, you left. Come back. Come back, Tex. We can talk. Come back. I shouldn't vote. Why? Why'd you invite Nadia? Oh, wrong person. I'm like, what are we doing here? Hi, Tex. How are you today?
I'm brilliant, genius, smart,
Can I get how old you are for TikTok terms of service, please?
middle-aged.
Okay, cool. Why shouldn't I vote?
You just don't know what you're doing.
I don't.
It's sad.
Really?
You're neurotic. You can't handle 24/7 news in your pocket. You've become neurotic. You're disillusioned. You have
What?
TDS.
Me? Me personally?
And you're far too emotional to have such a strong responsibility on your hands. You're
Me
abusing it.
personally?
Yeah, you're misusing it.
How?
And it should be, you shouldn't. You just shouldn't.
My job is to literally look up news and politics all day, so I
Your
think I'm
job is
pretty
stay-at-home
well.
mom.
Excuse me. Wow, the emotion.
job is
It's
stay-at-home
interesting that
mom.
you have no impulse control. That you
Your
can't
job
listen.
is stay-at-home mom. Don't.
I am a stay-at-home mom. You're right. And I also do this. And so I actually am more qualified in my household to vote because I am able to have time to pay
Give me that
attention to the
spin
candidates in
zone.
my area. What's your congressional district?
Don't give me that spin zone. Your job is stay-at-home mom.
It is. It is. And so I am better
shut the
equipped
fuck
to
up.
be able to keep track
Shut
of
that
what's
shut the
going on
fuck up.
locally for me to
Shut
be able
up.
to vote than my
Listen to
husband
the
is, who works a
husband.
full-time job. Isn't that interesting?
Shut up.
I know,
It's his problem. He has to listen to you. We shouldn't have to.
You said I have to listen to him.
You gotta shut up at some point.
No, I'm not going to do that, unfortunately for you.
You shouldn't be
What
voting.
congressional district are you in?
That's man's business. Politics is
even
not
know?
for girls.
Do you even know?
Politics is not for girls.
Who is your representative in the House?
I speak to men on these issues, not women.
Then why'd you come in here to talk to me? You commented
To
on me. You
tell
could have
you-
just scrolled on by,
to
but
tell
your
you-
ego couldn't let it go that I'm smarter than you.
You gotta give it a rest. You're not important.
Well, then leave.
Your opinion
leave,
doesn't
Buttercup.
matter.
Then leave,
Stop
Buttercup.
using other
If I'm not
taxpayer
important, then leave,
taxpayers.
Buttercup.
You pay
Sweetheart.
taxes.
You don't know your congressional
pay
district.
taxes.
You don't know who your representative
pay
is in the
taxes.
House. Do you know how
You pay
many
taxes.
representatives are there in the House?
Did I pay 5 figures in taxes?
I don't know. Did you? How small is it?
What did you
sweetie?
pay?
How small is
What
it?
did you pay?
I didn't have to pay taxes last year. I
Quit
will have to
being-
this
quit-
upcoming year.
Do you think you virtue signal with other people's money?
No.
Quit that shit.
I'm
Quit that
crowdfunded,
shit yesterday.
so it's a
No,
decision
quit
that
that
they
shit
make to pay
yesterday.
me.
I'm good.
I
I'm
see,
empathetic. You're using other people's money. It ain't
I'm
empathy.
not using it. They
You're
know
a
what they're
loser.
donating to.
You feel bad about yourself.
You're
You wanna
mad
make
that you have
yourself
to
good.
work. You're
wanna
mad that you have to
appear to
work
be-
a 40-hour
you-
work week in a job that you absolutely hate and feel like shit, and it's small, and your wife hates you. If you have one.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
You came in here. The first comment you left me was, listen to your husband. I asked you what about? What should I listen to my husband about? And then you said you shouldn't vote. And I asked you why, and you said that I'm emotional and that my job is stay-at-home mom. Guess what? My job actually is stay-at-home mom. Shocker to you. You can be a feminist and be a stay-at-home mom. But this is also my job. I didn't have to pay taxes last year because I didn't make enough. I will most likely have to pay taxes this year. Thank you, by the way, to my community for paying for a woman's labor every single day so that I will have to pay taxes next year. And you have no impulse control and you can't answer questions. You didn't answer your age. One, you said middle-aged. You didn't answer what congressional district you're in. You didn't answer who your congressional representative is. And you didn't answer how many representatives are in the House of Representatives. So give the illegal aliens your own money. Oh, sweetheart, you're just broken. Anyway, I have more important things to do, like actually not be emotional and pay attention. Thank you, Peter.
Oh my god, I have crabs.
There's Peter. We were wondering where you were. Peter gave me the crabs, as he always does. W's for the Swan. Corrupted, by the way. W's too corrupted for the Swan. That's one way with capitalism you can get rid of somebody you no longer want to listen to. Like that guy. I was willing to have a conversation with him. He just couldn't keep it together. His 5-figure taxes. It doesn't make the penis work any better, sweetie. Anyway, so Donald Trump was asked about the possibility of El Sayed winning.
Sir, thank you for doing this for us. We very much appreciate this. One of the big stories of the day, we'll talk about the markets. The markets were way up today, but one of the big stories, of course, is the primaries in Michigan specifically, where it looks like Abdul El Sayed is going to win, has a very good chance to win that Senate race, at least his primary race. What do you think about the traction these candidates who are backed by the DSA and are members of the DSA are getting?
Well, I think it's crazy because they're going to ruin our country. They want to, I don't know if they want to. I think either they're very naive or they actually want to ruin the country. No matter where you look, go back 1,000 years with different names, anybody doing what they're doing and what they're espousing, everything turns out to ashes and junk and filth. You know, one thing I said the other day for the first time ever, never thought of it, but you go to these cities that are taken over by the socialists and the communists, they're always filthy dirty, they're disgusting. They're always dirty, and, you know, I'm a clean person, and people I know are clean. They like that, and you are. I know you very well. You're very clean.
By the way, all this is it's a racist trope, but on top of that, what? He's clean? What? Yay, Trisha!
But they're, aside from crime, aside from all of the other problems, no jobs, no anything, no money, they're always filthy, disgusting.
No money. It's just, yeah, because communism, no money. I know that that's terrible to capitalist shills like him, but...
Dirty. And that's what you'll get. You know, I won Michigan. I did great in Michigan, and we should win. We have a man, Mike Rogers is going to be fantastic. Now, I'm not a big believer in polls, but I believe in him somewhat. And based on the polls, he'll do much better against Abdul than he's going to do against the Congresswoman.
See, that's an opinion, which he can have. He's allowed to have that opinion. But we don't know, because I haven't seen what the polling is on it, so he could be right on that. But what we do know is, or what not what we do know, excuse me, I'll take that back. What we do see a lot of the times is that the candidate they talk about the most tends to be the one that they're scared of. And seeing as the one that they're scared of seems to be Abdul El Sayed, that's probably the one that they're more worried about losing against. So we'll see how that works. W is Chicky for the 15. You said for your taxes. Thank you. Yeah, for my taxes. Just keep increasing the fact that I have to report this income on my taxes. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then also, Scuba Steve, thank you for $4 for ban for the previous caller and Ruben Days adding for him. Not a ban, but a mute. So we're muting Tex, and then Ruben gets another one. Love that. Scuba Steve, thank you so much for that. Hold on, let me do... No, I'm going to do this math first, then I'll do that math. Leave me alone! Thank you, Sparky, for the $20 for Start the Text Mute. Holy crap. So text mute times $20 so that I can do the math on that in my Google sheet later. Thank you. You guys don't want... I said I don't pay taxes. I said I will have to next year, Tex. You don't listen because you're so emotional, but it doesn't matter to me because you're muted for this live. So W's for that. Okay, I'm going to do that math first. Leave me alone. I should know this. 47, right? Yes. Leave me alone. I did it without a calculator. You guys should be proud of me. No, tax capitalism got you. You're done. You can come back tomorrow, though. I'll be here. I'll still be here. A woman who bothers you. If I am so insignificant as a woman that I shouldn't speak, I shouldn't vote, how come you keep coming in here? How come you've jumped in my box 2 more times? Sweetheart. Anyway, so then Trump delivered out a truth this morning since Abdul El Sayed is the projected winner of his primary. And going on to November with Mike Rogers, great news for the Republican Party. El Sayed, a communist loser who hates Jews and Israel, not true, is the projected winner in his race with the socialist. As usual, the polls were way off on this one. She was not expected to do nearly as well as she did. Now the Democrats' crazy policies will only get worse. I don't know what he's talking about. Any of the polling that we had seen, any of the polling that we had talked about showed that they were pretty neck and neck, right? There was one that was like funded in support of her where she was a little bit higher, and one in support of him that was a little bit higher. But it made sense that it was going to be a close race. I I don't know of anybody who thought it was going to be a blowout, and if they did, they're silly. And that includes people on the left who thought that was going to be a blowout. That's silly. I wouldn't have thought that at all. But it shows to me he's scared. That's what it shows to me, is he's trying to put his influence out there because he's scared. But let's ask a couple voters. So I have a couple clips here of a couple voters who voted for him and why they voted for him.
Abdul.
And why is that?
Because he doesn't take money from AIPAC. I'm not voting for.
Well, yeah, Newshound, you said last week polls showed him at plus 17. I think, but that was like after his, after the debate, right? Like she did not do well in the debate.
For anybody who takes money from AIPAC.
And why is that?
Because the money should be spent here, not over there.
Overall change in people who had an independent view and thought process of what's right for the voters, not what's right for corporate PACs or what's right for any affiliations that support them.
People are tired of seeing their money going overseas, and we'll do it again. Let's talk to the next voter. Yeah, Newshound, it was an outlier in your opinion. I would agree. And that's what and you are very, very good at reading polls and understanding the margins of error. And so, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you. Let's go to another voter. Why'd they vote for Abdul El Sayed?
I just wouldn't want a single of our family's tax-paying dollars to go towards something like that. It's like giving money to violence.
So would you support a Senate candidate, in this case Haley Stevens, who's more of a moderate like you tend to like, but would that be enough?
That would definitely turn me off as 100%. I couldn't. I would vote for a communist first.
Uh-oh. The problem is your policies are so unpopular, and the policies from AIPAC, just having the interest of the Israeli government in mind at all times, is now so unpopular that people would rather openly admit that they would vote for communism. And there's no way in hell that you're gonna tell that woman that she's a commie? You're gonna cry that she's a dirty, filthy communist? Because she doesn't look like a dirty, filthy commie to me. But good for her for having a stance in not wanting our money to go to the Israeli government to continue killing women and children. Here is David Axelrod on AIPAC money.
The fact that our ally Israel is fighting against these terrorists in the Middle East.
Let me just say a word about that, because we've talked about this before, and I speak as you know, as the son of a Jewish refugee, so issues of anti-Semitism are very personal to me. I think that what you see in Michigan is a interest group spending $30 million. She's got $64 million in television spending, and they're responsible for at least half of that. And one of the issues, as Kristen mentioned, that people are grappling with is the power of money in our politics, the influence that interest groups have, and I think it's a legitimate question. Should essentially an agent of any foreign government, whether it's Israel or any other, be able to spend, is it healthy for them to spend $30 million in a race like this to influence the outcome of that race? I think that's a legitimate issue.
Quickly, Van.
Van Jones is going to push back a little bit, if I remember correctly, from the other interviews that I looked at today. But that is the question. It's a question that Americans are asking themselves and have been asking themselves. And that is regardless of your political affiliation. And that is where we can meet. Do you understand that that's where we can meet? If you would just stop fear-mongering about black and brown people, if you would just stop fear-mongering about trans people, if you would just stop fear-mongering about communism and socialism, we could get on the same page about ending Citizens United, about not allowing our candidates to be thrown around in their policy by big interest groups with money, by removing money out of politics. We could get on the same page about that. But you guys refuse because you've been brainwashed to just hate on people who have nothing to do with who's hurting you. It's ridiculous. Stop letting them do that to you. You don't have to be a giant lefty, but just come on the same page in some instances. That would be great. Thank you for the $5 super chat, John. Oh my God, great. Scott Jennings, Trump's biggest CNN ass kisser. He is. He's absolutely terrible, horrible human being. I will say, if we get to it, he has a spine about one issue. Now, did that spine come from him actually having principles, or did it come from the majority opinion? I don't know. We'll find out. But
I mean,
all right, healthcare costs, Bert, right? Like, if we can get on the same page about moving towards a single-payer healthcare system so that everybody can have affordable healthcare, we can do that. Just stop fear-mongering. You have no policy platform. None.
I get your point. I don't think that they're an agent of a foreign power. I think they're American Jews, as you said.
Their mission is to support the policies of the Israeli government.
Well, I think their issue is to protect Israel, but you have to have
no. But Van, read what they're.
I'm happy to be corrected by you, but I also like to make my own point, which is that
the fact that
Van Jones annoys the fuck out of me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'll take the pushback, but it's dumb. We do not need to be. We don't do this in the same way that we do for Israel for any other fucking government. We just don't. So it's silly. But you know what? We're going to go a little over the place before we come back to Abdul El-Sayed. But I promise we're going there. I'm doing the weave, as the president would say. So Ted Cruz is going to do what Ted Cruz is going to do, and he's immediately going to run into Islamophobia. And also, Seth using our Nick Shirley sticker. We are a Nick Shirley community up in this bitch. We truly are, unfortunately for us. But Ted Cruz is going to go to Islamophobia and conflate a conversation that I've never heard Abdul El-Sayed say in regards to a different candidate in Wisconsin.
Is that where the energy is? They want to cancel Thanksgiving?
They're crazy enough, yes. They want to cancel Thanksgiving. They want to cancel Christmas. Look,
oh, no.
These communists hate America. They hate capitalism. El-Sayed is also an Islamist, as is Mondami. And look, you see the green-red convergence where the communist and the Islamist.
And your name is not Ted. So what are we talking about?
They want Sharia law. They hate.
When has Zoran Mamdani or Abdul El-Sayed ever advocated for Sharia law, for law, for Shakira law? You know my hips don't lie. When has that ever happened? Thank you, Mia, for the corgis. I appreciate you butt shaking corgis. I knew the other one's coming. Shake it. Shake that healthy butt.
Jews, they hate Christians, they hate capitalism, they hate America.
They hate Jews, they hate Christians. One, show me that anywhere. But two, isn't that what you're doing? Aren't you just saying that you hate Muslims? I think what you mean by Islamist is you mean Muslim, but don't you hate people of the Islamic faith? Is that not what you're doing? Out openly, but you can't show me where they've done that.
All of this is coming together in a way that is really a toxic stew.
Is that where the...
Here's the thing. Let's talk about Thanksgiving, because he's conflating two different fucking things. The second part of that comment was just Islamophobia. What he is conflating is a conversation by a Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate by the name of Francesca Hong, saying in previous posts that she has since deleted that she would like to cancel Thanksgiving. Now, MAGA, listen up and listen good. We are going to critique Francesca Hong, not for her take, but for the fact that she didn't stand 10 toes down in it. So Caitlin Collins is going to call her out for it. I don't like her answer. Congratulations, this is your moment. Let's talk shit on Francesca Hong, but let's do it for the right reasons. Shall we? Okay.
You know, you talked about your past positions that he keeps highlighting and, you know, obviously likely would continue to do so before November should you win. One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted. Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef, and one of the first meals that I made that was for the community.
Immediately mad. I listened to this morning. Immediately I was mad. Do you stand by what you said if you want? Now, we can have the discussion about Thanksgiving. We will have it at the end of this video. It won't take very long, but we'll have the discussion. But she asked you a fucking question. If I'm going to say and hold Republicans to account, okay, that when Caitlin Collins asks you a question, you answer it. God damn it, I'm going to say it for you too. You answer the fucking question. Do you still believe Thanksgiving should be canceled or not? And she starts with, I'm a chef.
I'm a chef, and one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal. You know, I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. And so I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve. And the position that I'm running for right
Okay, but did your view evolve, which is really what the question is. I agree that what Thanksgiving has become in this country is, one, a break from fucking capitalism, but also a time for family and friends to get together, to share a meal, and to express appreciation for being in each other's lives. I think that is what Thanksgiving has become. But she is also correct that we have to be honest about what Thanksgiving was, what it represents, and the harm that it represents to the indigenous population in this country. And so I've been trying with my family. It's hard because with capitalism, that's the time that they get for break. But we have been working on, with my family, trying to actually do a feast outside of Thanksgiving Day. That's what we're slowly trying to work on, is not doing the feast on Thanksgiving Day, but doing a feast, some sort of food feast, outside of that with my family so that we have that same kind of time. That's what we're moving towards personally. And I know that's anecdotal, but that's what I'm working towards. I explain to my children who learn about Thanksgiving, I explain to them the history of what actually took place, what Thanksgiving actually is, but what it represents to people now. She's correct on that. But again, you just said opinions evolve. Did your opinion evolve? Do you still think we need to cancel Thanksgiving as a holiday recognized by the federal government or not? Just answer the question.
Right now, and I think my background as a chef will actually help me become a better governor that's able to bring more people to the table.
Francesca Hong, thank you for joining us. We hope to have you back on.
She didn't answer the question.
Depending on how things go next week.
She didn't answer the question. And I don't like that. I don't like that bullshit political crap. Now, I told you we were going to go on a little bit of a journey. So, we will get back to Abdul El-Sayed in a minute. We're going to shit on Francesca Hong a little bit more. She did an interview. I listened to it yesterday with Pod Save America on their podcast. This in particular, she had posted that she believed the police exist to uphold white supremacy. I agree. I agree with that. No ifs, ands, or buts. She has now moved from that position. If you are going to have a position, stand 10 toes down in that position. It sounds like she's moving to try to be more palatable in order to get elected. I don't like that.
I think it is incredibly important for Wisconsin to have a Democratic governor. But since Republicans will spend an ungodly amount of money to try to defeat you, I just want to make sure you have the best possible answers to what's coming. So I want to start with your 2020 posts supporting defunding the police, quote, as a first step towards abolishing the police, which in a separate post you said, quote,
also, this has nothing to do with anything, but like it literally has nothing to do with anything because, again, we're talking about funding, and I don't want funding in politics. But what is this background? Because she's either been kidnapped or she is kidnapping people. I'm not sure what all the sheets pinned up to the wall with the giant red letters is supposed to indicate, but I'm just saying, this has nothing to do with her policies. I just noticed it, and I was like, what the fuck? But let's get to her actual beliefs and how they've changed, because then they're not your beliefs. They're just talking points that you're trying to use to win. Right. If I can't get Republicans to like me, then how will I win? Democrats who lose, yeah.
Defunding the police, quote, as a first step towards abolishing the police, which in a separate post you said, quote, exists to uphold white supremacy. Now, I know you've said you're not running to defund the police. It's not something you can do as governor, and that people's views can evolve. I'm wondering how your views on policing have evolved since 2020.
My views have only become stronger in that I'm serious about public safety, and I will not abolish the police. My views are that people are struggling right
Now, here's the thing. She's right in being governor. She can't. That's really going to be something through the state legislature in way of funding, not abolishing. So she really can't. But you had a stance, and you seem to be backing off from that stance
right now and need basic needs met. And I want to focus on stopping violent crime and giving law enforcement the resources and the training that they need, but ensure that we are also holding accountable law enforcement that does not follow the law.
Do you still believe that police exist to uphold white supremacy?
No.
What has changed in your thinking since you posted that in 2020?
No, I think that when you talk to people who are most justice impacted, a mother who lost a child to police violence, people who have contended with injustices in historically marginalized communities. But justice also looks like making sure that we are implementing solutions and helping to change the material conditions of people's lives. So as a legislator over the last...
Now, that's true. Crime goes down if the wealth gap goes down, right? We see with an increase in poverty, we see an increase in crime. However, that's not what we're talking about. I agree. Great stance. Figure out what is making the community impoverished, fix that so that we have a decrease in crime and we have better living conditions for the people living in Wisconsin. However, why are you backing down from your stance? And if you're going to back down from your stance, offer other solutions, right, Chris? Like saying ending qualified immunity, like saying ensuring that the people dealing with the community is not police forward, but community resource forward. Do that instead. Hi, Oya.
Hey, I could be wrong, right? This is just my standpoint. But I think she just did a classism is more important.
Yeah, she did.
And a bigger issue than racism.
Pretty much, without saying it. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
That's fucked.
That's those crunchy leftovers we talk about. Like, you don't actually want change. Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna drop down now.
Love you.
Love you, bye.
No, you're right. It's a great point to point out. As important as it is to talk about the issue of classism, to talk about those issues, you had a stance. Stay strong. Or say what you're going to do to change it.
6 years, I've had more conversations with people who are more directly connected to the problems and have learned that it is most important for a public servant like myself to make sure we're looking at sensible, practical solutions that will help keep communities safe.
You said during this campaign back in May that there has to be accountability for people who commit crimes. And if you're a governor and people commit crimes, that, quote, incarceration and law enforcement are the systems in place right now. You also said your long-term vision is a world without prisons. How does that work?
What I know is attainable and the policies that actually meet the urgency of the moment and understanding the realities of it means that we have to ensure that we're funding our local governments, that we're bringing justice to victims, and what may have been more aspirational is not primary. What we need to do is make sure that all people all across Wisconsin have access to great public schools, out-of-school programs, mental health resources, and that we hold law enforcement accountable, but also provide them with the training that they need to help prevent crime and stop crime.
Cops don't prevent crime. Police do not prevent crime. She's just trying to win. I don't like that from any candidate. That shit pisses me off. Hold your stance firm. So I would like to see what happens when she's pushed on that a little harder. Yeah, guys, I tried to fix it. I put myself in the box to see if that fixed it. Did it? Or am I still glitchy? I don't know. Looks like it's working. I don't know. We'll see. So let's go. Now we're going to go revert back. I told you we were doing the weave. Let's go back. Haley Stevens this morning issued a concession speech. We're going to read it from Midas Touch. I want to congratulate Abdul El-Sayed on winning the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. He is a doctor, a community health official, a Rhodes Scholar, and a dedicated Michigander. I am proud to offer my support as he takes on Mike Rogers in the general election. We need to win this Senate seat because Alyssa Slotkin deserves a partner like Abdul in the U.S. Senate. Good speech. You see what can happen when you start building coalition. Yes, they were going against each other in the primaries. Yes, she takes AIPAC money and wants unconditional aid to Israel, so I don't want her in the seat. And apparently Michigan didn't either. But she graciously conceded and also supported him in the race because he's still going to be a more progressive and better choice than conceding it out to Mike Rogers. Now I'm going to play I'm assuming it's just a portion, but this is a portion of his speech. Was this today? Maybe today.
But I also want to speak to this moment. We've got 13 weeks to defeat Mike Rogers. And however we might feel about the campaign we've just come through, I want you to understand that it pales in comparison to the cynicism, in comparison to the corporatism, in comparison to the lies that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump are going to tell. There is so much more that unites us. However much we might disagree with our Democratic opponent, there is so much more that unites us than divides us. And so to all of our supporters here tonight, watching on TV, tomorrow we begin to mend fences.
He does. I've heard this a lot, and it's very curious to me. He does have Obama's cadence. Now I don't know if that is he trained himself to sound like that. I would have to hear like way younger, earlier. I know he ran for like the gubernatorial seat, so I wonder if there's any videos from back then to see if he still sounds like that, or if it's a Midwest thing, right? Like Michigan and Illinois are right there. Like, so it's just the cadence. It's not even straight talk though. It's just cadence. So it was weird.
Whatever happens tonight, we have a responsibility.
Oh, actually, this is the perfect moment. He has Obama's cadence. Thank you, Mia, for the 303. And as somebody from the 303 in Colorado, I love that number. Thank you. It's also easy math, but Obama. Thank you.
To assure that we unite to make sure that Mike Rogers never sees the inside of the U.S. Senate. And I'm going to ask. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to ask all of us, as we think about where we go from here, always magnanimity in victory. So if your instinct is to be like, I told you, no. Let's come together to build a movement that's even bigger, that's even stronger, that's even more powerful, that reaches into the very depths of this state, that reminds us the best of who we are and who we can be. That is the commitment I want all of us to be making as we leave here tonight.
So, James, you said this guy is nothing more than a Muslim communist trying to clean up his speeches. What about him is communist? What of his stances that he's presented to the people of Michigan is communist? And my other question would be, do you listen to their speeches? People from the Democratic Party or people from the DSA, and the positivity and the hope for a progressive, beneficial country. All that the Republicans have is, these people are going to attack you! There's nothing positive. Your party is dying from the inside out because of what Donald Trump has done to it. Because Republicans can't go against him, so all that they can run on now is fear-mongering. There's nothing positive in it. There's nothing hopeful. There's no light. It is suffocating. Suffocating in your party. What policies do you have to benefit the American people? I'll wait. And then Abdul El Sayed went on Morning Joe this morning, and I just wanted to play this as well, and we'll continue on. Guys, as we're sitting here, if you're watching over on YouTube, though, and you have not hit that thumbs up button for me, I would appreciate it if you do so. It means a lot to me. Also, W's to TikTok for getting over 100,000 likes, like way before. I think it was almost 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Thank you guys so much for tapping so hard for me. I appreciate it. It means everything. We are only at 44, which is matching the number on my screen here, but 44 shares. Can we increase the shares up a little bit? I know that we can get those up to 100 without spamming the copy link button, but let's get those shares up. I would appreciate that so very much. And as always, as you see, I have 44 left in my goal. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal on the link tree in my bio to pay for women's labor to finish that off today. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. We're on for about 2 more hours. Let's keep doing the thing, guys. I appreciate your input and my community so much. Here's Abdul El Sayed on The Morning Joe.
My commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own kids. We have a responsibility to take on anti-Semitism in all of its forms wherever we see it.
Oh, I thought Ted Cruz said that he hates Jews. I thought he said he hates the Jewish people. Apparently that wasn't true. Ted Cruz was just blowing smoke up your ass because you guys are a bunch of Islamophobes. Okay.
It's the same responsibility we have to take on Islamophobia. I know what it's like to be discriminated against for how I pray. I've experienced it myself, and nobody should have to feel that in a country where we believe in basic freedoms. And so the things that bring us together are so much bigger.
Yeah, his cadence is different when he's speaking in interviews. I've noticed that too, because he did the Pod Save interview and it was different too. It could just be the way he delivers speeches. We change our cadence when we're trying to get a point across to a larger audience than we do in a smaller audience. But why does it matter how he prays? It doesn't. It doesn't matter how he prays. But he deserves the same protections as anyone else who prays, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish. You deserve those same protections in this country. You're afforded those same protections in this country under the Constitution. And we are going to see, just like we did with Zoran Mamdani, but probably even more so since he's working on going to the Senate, we are going to see the most disgusting Islamophobia come out. We're going to see millions of dollars in running against him, in running ads against him to make him seem like some jihadi communist. And you need to be prepared to see it. You need to be prepared to fight it. And if you're in Michigan, focus up and lock in. Your work is not done yet.
Than the things that divide us. Whatever we may think about our funding for a government 6,000 miles away, I think we all agree about the
those are the words they're going to use, Monster. Like, those are the words they're going to use. I don't believe that. Those are the words that they're going to use. That's what I'm saying, is to be prepared for. When Zoran was running, I don't know if any of you were scrolling Twitter when Zoran was running. You had people posting the twin motherfucking towers getting hit by a plane and trying to conflate that and tap into the lizard brain from people and their Islamophobia in regards to 9/11 to go after him when he was a child. He's not even from there. No, it wasn't just Twitter, but Twitter was really bad. Randy Fine was one of the biggest ones. Ted Cruz, another one. Like, we're going to see it, and it's going to be gross.
funding for our schools that might be 2 miles
I'm a commie, am I, Bruce?
away, and the funding for our roads that we drive on to get there, and the funding for our healthcare that we all need and deserve. I just think we need to treat Israel the way we would treat any other country who behaved the way that Israel is behaving. I understand that Netanyahu is a big reason why they've gotten so aggressive, frankly, so bloodthirsty under his reign. It's impossible for us to say that we want a two-state solution while we've been aiding, arming, and abetting the very people who've been trying to foreclose on the possibility of a Palestinian state. And ultimately, in the end, I don't think any of us pay our taxes so that a foreign government gets a bomb or a tank. We pay our taxes so that our kids get good schools and functional infrastructure, and too many of our kids just don't have those things right now. I just don't believe in unconditional foreign military.
And that's the point. That's the real point. They keep asking about Israel. When is the tax money that we pay actually going to benefit the American people? When do we stop funding the military-industrial complex to a degree where they have failed their 8th audit while 1 in 5 children go hungry, while people still don't have access to clean water. When does the money actually benefit us?
Aid. That includes Israel, but it also includes Egypt, where my family immigrated from. Our kids have a right to our tax dollars. About 10 minutes away from schools that look like they did 50 years ago. Our money should be spent here rather than sent in the form of bombs or tanks to foreign governments, particularly when they're doing the most heinous things with them. I also just believe in international law, and I think we need to hold all foreign actors accountable to that international law. We've watched as Israel has conducted a genocide, has at baseline done apartheid, and has taken us into a war we have no business fighting. So why, of course, are we sending money to that country?
So, I think he has good points. We will see as it keeps going. We will try to keep track here on this channel. I'm sure there will be a debate between him and Mike Rogers, unless Mike Rogers chooses not to. So, there's that. But the last bit that I have on that is Vance this morning, which kind of, he insulted himself, I guess. I thought Vance was your guys' great hope to take over for Trump. That's what you guys were all telling me. Vance, when you guys aren't living in the delusion that Trump can run in 2028 because he can't, and the good Lord might take him home, you guys tend to promote Vance. And Vance has no faith in himself, but also is trying to insult Abdul El-Sayed at the same time.
Working with us. We don't want the next administration, whoever, God forbid, you're going to have President El-Sayed in 3 years.
Real quick, I'll let that play again. Pierre, you said 1 in 5 children in the world can't get food, and this idiot believes it's a USA statistic. No, I'm talking about our statistic in the US. But my thing is, if it's a worldwide issue, yeah, we know that it's a worldwide issue being able to feed children. But from the entirety of my life, I have been told that we are the greatest country in the world. And that we're the richest country in the world. So why are kids starving here? While we send money for weapons to kill children in other countries who can't get food? That'd be my question.
Working with us. We don't want the next administration, whoever, God forbid, you're going to have President El-Sayed in 3 years. We don't want him to undo all the incredible work that...
By the way, that's just a concession that they're going to lose. That's what that was. God knows who's going to be president in 3 years to undo what we did, because we're not going to be in power because we are so unpopular that a Democrat is surely going to win. That was a concession. Thank you, J.D. Vance.
We've been doing when we've been taking out the fraudsters and saving the American people money and are working with us.
Kids are not starving. Sure. Let's move on. We're still in elections, but we're going to move on here. This is Ted Cruz. I don't have a lot on this, but I need to get more on it. It's not going well for Paxton in Texas. It's tight. It's going to be tight. I do not think this is going to be a blowout in any way, shape, or form. It's going to be a very, very, very tight race. But, yeah, Flood Cruz. Tallarico's doing well. And that concerns the GOP and Republicans in Texas. I also want to get to at some point, probably next week, maybe tomorrow. I would like to go through the Texas hearing, the council hearing that happened yesterday that Hector was at. W. Hector, we love you. That Hector was at. And I want to go over the videos and how everyone was escorted out. I would like to go over the issues that the Republicans are having with critique. In Texas specifically. But for now, we're going to cover the fact that it's going to be a tight race, and they know it. And Cruz is even admitting to it here that it's going to be tight.
Well, if this thing keeps up, you could have Tallarico come in, and you'd have a Senate which I don't think people would recognize. Is that race close?
It is close. There have been multiple polls in the past week that show Tallarico leading one after the other. They're within a couple of points. But this is a very real race. And I believe we're going to win. I think Ken Paxton is going to win that race. But this...
Now, that's possible, right? Tallarico is now starting to trend up. So here's the thing. I don't have it, but Enton did a poll on it. He's starting to trend at above where Beto O'Rourke was in 2018. He's starting to trend in the polling above that. Now, Beto still lost, but to be fair, in 2018, Trump was still relatively popular within the base. He's not as popular now as he was then. So, seeing these margins, again, still tight, Still within margin of error, but seeing Tallarico reaching up there is a positive sign, and that scares Republicans. And we'll show you why, because Ted Cruz has a plan.
This is going to be close. It's going to be decided by a point or two, and it is all about turnout. I'm spending a lot of time trying to raise money for Ken Paxton because it's rough, and the left is...
Money! I'm going to fundraise for shit-ass criminal Ken Paxton because that's how close the race is. So if you're in Texas, pay attention. They're scared.
Really angry. They hate Donald Trump, and they want to turn this country in a really dangerous direction.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle.
And he's 2 points ahead. So apparently it's doing well. The American people have a different view than you do, and it just keeps getting worse for them. So this, did I have it up so that I didn't have to... Oh, no, real quick. Let me do this real quick. Sorry, I forgot that I had this on here, and I didn't have it on the outline, though. Trumped back. This one made me laugh. Oh, no, did I move it down? I moved it down, so I'm going to move this. Never mind. Shh. We're okay. We'll get there. It's funny, though. You guys are going to laugh when we get there. Another conservative endorses Jon Ossoff in crucial Georgia Senate race. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Why'd you do that? Why'd you reset yourself? Don't do that. Another conservative voice, oh God, USA Today, is chiming in on the crucial U.S. Senate race in Georgia. Jeff Flake, the former GOP senator from Arizona and ambassador to Turkey under the Biden administration, has endorsed incumbent Democrat Jon Ossoff for the Senate seat in an interview with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, adding to a growing number of conservatives who say this election is about more than just policy. Flake has a complicated history with the Republican establishment, breaking with the party more than once on votes from immigration reform to repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell legislation. Now, his endorsement of the sitting senator again breaks from leading Republicans who are supporting the Trump-endorsed Representative Mike Collins for the seat. Collins, however, has to make up ground as early polling shows Ossoff with a strong lead going into November, and the representative has clashed with reporters over accusations he supports white supremacists, one of whom is his own son-in-law. We haven't even gotten to that. That's a fucking mess. Maybe we'll get to that next week. It's a mess. He's also still under a House ethics investigation over possible misuse of taxpayer funds to pay his staff who did no work for his office. You asked Arid if I saw that Ken Paxton's former attorney endorsed Tallarico. I did. I don't remember if I played it on this show, but I did see that. I watched the interview. It was pretty funny. The Senate race has garnered national attention as President Trump repeatedly attacks Ossoff, calling the senator nicknames like Pinky Herman, meaning Pee Wee Herman, since we have to correct for the decrepit old man, and one of the Democrats in a recent speech in Marietta, Georgia. Flake says character matters in a Senate race. I'm still a conservative Republican, but character matters, and I want someone in that seat who takes the institution seriously and will protect the institution. Flake told the AGC, saying he still disagrees with Ossoff on many of his stances on policy. Character is more important. I've been around long enough to know that you'll disagree on issues with people across the aisle or sometimes in your own party, but the more important thing is character. I compare that to somebody who will likely go back and just be a rubber stamp for whatever the president wants. Thank you. Thank you for being a Republican with a critical mind, because you should disagree with people in your party. You should. That's why the left, you guys say, oh, the left, the Dems can't get it together. You're right, the Dems cannot get it together. Ken Martin still needs to resign from the DNC. The Dems cannot get it together. Why? Because they have so many different ideas about what's going to be better to win elections and move forward in this country, which is good. That's healthy. What you guys do is unhealthy. It is unhealthy to surround yourself around this orange buffoon who is not doing anything beneficial for you, and to vote for candidates whose only policy position is to fear people and to follow what Trump says. That's silly. You should be able to disagree. But when you disagree with Trump, what happens to you? When you disagree with MAGA, what happens to you? They oust you, and they blacklist you. They call you a rhino. Even though you are conservative, you hold conservative values, which means you disagree with me, but then they hate on you. You should be working on primarying those people. Get conservative candidates that you would like to see that are not just solely loyal to glazing Trump's taint. Ossoff also represents a good move for the Democratic Party, Flake said, moving the ideology needle to the center and appealing to a large number of swing voters. That's true, he does. Flake was hesitant that Collins comes across as an extreme candidate, and his refusal to acknowledge the results of the 2020 election is not where most voters are today. Despite a long history of conservative support, Flake did not move with his party to support Trump as strongly in his first term, ultimately choosing not to run for re-election to the Senate and later accepting a position within the Biden administration. In the years since, he has called Trump out of touch and has predicted a large migration away from the GOP in the 2026 midterms. We'll see how that pans out. Ossoff says Collins is a Trump puppet after his endorsement. I'm deeply grateful for Senator Flake's support, statesmanship, and public service. He's right. Character matters, and our coalition to defeat the scandal-plagued Trump puppet and bigot Mike Collins includes many Republicans and independents. Polling suggests Ossoff is right. In the data from AARP, Ossoff is leading 52% to Collins 43% across all likely voters. A Fox News poll from the end of June saw Ossoff even higher with 56% support for the seat. So again, my point is to show that even conservatives who are literally dyed-in-the-wool conservative, actual Republicans, are no longer sitting here and dealing with this Trump bullshit. They don't want to see it anymore. Everybody is tired of it. And guess what? We're seeing that happen in real time, too. So, this is what I wanted to get to. Trump-backed Hassan falls short in Michigan House primary to take on McDonald Rivet. Now, remember, we covered Donald Trump went to Michigan. This was who he came out to support, among other things, and other candidates. President Trump's pick to take on first-term Representative Kristen McDonald Rivet in Michigan's 8th congressional district is projected to lose his GOP primary to a candidate who dropped out of the race. It's like when Haley Stevens lost against nobody. Or not Haley Stevens, Nikki Haley. That's why I said Haley. It was like when Nikki Haley lost against nobody. Like, we already knew that Trump was going to be the nominee. And she still was like, I'm not dropping out. And we're like, Nikki Haley, it's done. Try to save yourself a job. And she was like, no. And she lost to no one. It's like that. Lost to a candidate who dropped out of the race. Republican Thomas Smith, a retired engineer, defeated Amir Hassan, a former federal law enforcement officer who was endorsed by President Trump in June to secure the Republican nomination for the November election. Thomas suspended his campaign last month, but remained on the ballot. So he didn't even have to campaign. He didn't have to spend the money campaigning. He got to save funds now for the upcoming November election. Hassan's loss adds to a string of president's primary losses this cycle, though his endorsement track record has been largely successful. McDonald Rivet won the seat by almost 7 percentage points in 2024, defeating Republican nominee Paul Junge. Is it Junge? The former Bay City state senator won the district representing Flint, Saginaw, and Bay City, despite Trump winning it by 2 points in the presidential election. We saw that a lot in these states that are like swing states. We saw Democrats winning down ballot and Trump winning top ballot. Now, there's questions to why. I won't say them here. Look up the Election Truth Alliance if you want to, and I'm not saying that they're correct. I'm just saying there are questions. McDonald Rivet will enter the general election with a massive fundraising advantage, having more than $4.2 million cash on hand as she seeks re-election, according to campaign finance records. Cook Political Report says the race leans Democrat. Cook wrote that the first-term Congresswoman's strong showing in 2024 gives her an advantage entering the race, though demographic trends that have pushed the district toward Republicans in recent years means she is still expected to face a difficult battle for the seat GOP hope to flip. So it's still going to be a battle. It was just funny that you lost to somebody who's not even running anymore. They're on the ballot, but they weren't running. And again, it is showing that Trump's power is waning. It is starting to show that Trump's power is waning, and we're seeing that again. So this, Elaine Luria just won the Democratic nomination in Virginia District 2, setting up a brutal rematch against GOP Representative Jen Kiggans in one of the country's most vital battleground districts. Now, Kiggans' campaign, she's going to come on here and be asked about the endorsement that she got from Trump. Now, I want you to hear her try to distance herself from Trump specifically.
Your opponent has a Navy service as well in a district with a big military population. When it comes to this district, President Trump, I think it was just yesterday, said that you have his complete and total endorsement. So a full-throated endorsement for you from the president. Is that an endorsement you welcome?
So I'll say, we're always grateful for any endorsements, especially when it comes from conservative leadership. But we run this district off of our record, off of the policies that I support, off of my priorities. Yes, I support the military as a military spouse, as a military mom, as a military veteran. I know this district, veteran issues are important to us, but there's so many other districts. We have other issues. We have businesses to support. We have families to keep safe. We have a border to keep secure. We need to keep government out of people's lives. So we run off of our record and the work that we've done as a Republican conference in Congress, but as a work I've done for the past 7 years of my life, and even before that, serving the country, serving my community, serving my family. This is the record we run off of.
Okay, so she's running on local policy, which is good, actually. I would rather her do that. I would rather see her do that. But it's just showing, once again, Trump's endorsement is a stain more than it is helpful now. Full-throated. It's a political term. Why? I don't know. But it is.
So I hear you say that you welcome all endorsements from conservative leaders. Does that specifically include that you welcome President Trump's endorsement?
It's an honor to have the president's endorsement, as it's an honor to have the Speaker of the House's endorsement, Governor Glenn Youngkin.
Well, it's an honor to have anybody's endorsement. I don't want to talk about Trump because I don't want that stain, because constituents don't like that.
Republican leadership, this is going to be a fight about who's the parties and which policies we prioritize. And I think there's stark contrast between what I'm prioritizing as a common sense conservative. It's really a fight between that common sense and really craziness.
Oh, the craziness. But again, it's just to show they're pulling away, because his endorsement doesn't mean as much as it used to. As the article in The Hill said, yes, still strong, but it doesn't mean as much as it used to. Where did I thought I had that in 2 different sections. Why? Oh, I did. Why did I have that in 2 different sections? So we remember how Todd Blanche, this is going to be real quick. Todd Blanche got through his committee onto the Senate vote, where he will most likely be confirmed. And then this came out yesterday. I just, once again, it's kind of a palate cleanser that's not a palate cleanser. I just want to say, once again, we told you. We told you. We told you. You guys said they will not overturn Roe v. Wade. You guys said nobody's going to touch your care, your access to care, your access to abortions. And we told you you're fucking lying. And now, when the Dobbs decision came out, you guys were like, oh, well, you guys are fear-mongering about a nationwide abortion ban. You're fear-mongering about a nationwide abortion ban. There's not going to be a nationwide abortion ban. Well, we told you.
To know this is a big part of our job. A big part of my job as the acting attorney general, and Attorney General Bondi before me, was bringing back regularity to the Department of Justice and the government when it comes to protecting religious liberty. And we're not done. We have a lot of work to do with some of the policies around pro-life and some of the pro-abortion work that the Biden administration and the Justice Department allowed to happen. Some of that is taking longer than we want, but rest assured that we're working, hand in hand with HHS and the FDA and the White House and President Trump's team to get permanent solutions so that the Dobbs decision becomes permanent in every single state. So that means that if states are allowing, if states have said we are going to protect the unborn and we're going to protect every life from the moment of conception, we're putting practices and policies in place so that other states and other organizations can't attack that, and they can't, do things like they're doing with mailing in mail order drugs and things like that. And it's a process that takes a lot of time, and that's why it's been 19 months and we don't have complete victory yet. But we will have victory, and victory will be soon, and it will be permanent. And that's an important thing to everybody remember.
But small government, but states' rights. We fucking told you. We fucking said this is what they were going to do. We fucking said it. Which let me get.
Hand in hand.
I just want to keep his face up for a second while you digest that. W's to Luca for the 2087. Todd Blanche's hair looks like dust that sticks to a broom after sweeping. Oh my god. What was that? Oh, what was the magnetic fucker? Do you remember? The little magnetic guy? And you can make his hair all crazy? That is kind of what he looks like. One, let me do the math on this real quick. And then 357. Let me see. Where did I do with it? Community. What did I do with it? Where is it? Ah, what was the character's name? Now I can't remember. Let's just go to my YouTube because I have a video that has it. You know what I think he looks like, Luca? You know what I think he looks like? I think oh no, I can't make it big. There we go. I think he looks like that thing from whatever movie. Wooly Willy, yeah, Wooly Willy. I can't remember what it's called. Chicky remembered. I think he looks like that. That's why I put it there. Boogle. Let's look it up. Boogle. No. Character. Yes. Images. Yes. Tell me that's not Todd Blanche. Tell me it's not. It is. Look. No, not that one. Look. That's Todd Blanche. Just want everybody to know. But we fucking told you. We fucking told you. We fucking told you. Cornyn was confronted with the fact that you voted for him. What the fuck what are we doing here? What are we doing here? How do you remedy this for survivors? The Epstein survivors are very, very upset with you for voting him through and for your plan to vote him through in the Senate. And this was his response.
Epstein survivors said that your vote, yes, on Blanche was going to have a chilling effect on survivors of sexual assault and things like that. What's your response to them? They were frustrated that you didn't meet with them in person, too.
Well, what happened to them is a tragedy. There's we know that and people have been convicted of trafficking and the crimes, and Epstein is no longer with us. But I don't believe there's anything we could do to assuage them at this point. But
there's nothing we could do to assuage them. No, they gave you what you could do, and that is not vote for Todd Blanche. Don't sit here and give me that bullshit that there's no way to remedy it, that there's no way to assuage the survivors. They told you how to. Very clearly, over and over and over again. They said, don't vote for Todd Blanche. That's how you can help fix this. But you knew better.
Need to continue to help them every way we can.
Right, yeah, one. As Ari and Danny both point out, one person has been convicted because of Epstein and the files, and that was Ghislaine Maxwell. One person. But you don't know how to assuage this?
But I just think that's one of those things that cannot be remedied by a no vote.
It can. It absolutely can. Maybe don't vote for the motherfucker covering it up. Don't vote for the motherfucker covering it up. Which, by the way, just thought about this morning. Where's James Comer? Because the last interview that they did, James Comer came out when they talked with Pam Bondi again. Remember when she had that thing on her throat? And they said, we need to bring in Todd Blanche again. Where's that? Hey, James Comer, where'd you go? Because I didn't forget. You said you wanted to bring Todd Blanche in again. Let's do that. Can we do that? Or are you waiting for his confirmation to ensure he has the job because you're a Trump taint licker? Yeah, probably that. Probably that. Okay. Let's go. Should I do economy? I think I can do economy and see where we get to. So Trump put out this truth yesterday about manufacturing. So Let's talk about it. As we are sitting here, guys, let me do a little spiel. You guys are doing wonderful on the tapping. Thank you guys so much as we head on our way to 200,000 likes. Thank you so much for the taps. Again, it's a side effect benefit for me. It is just positive things for what your fingers can do for your partners later. So W's to you guys. Thank you for working so hard on the taps the last couple of days. I appreciate it so very much. If you're watching on YouTube and you have not hit that thumbs up button, you can, if you could please do so, it would be helpful. Pushes it out onto the algorithm. Now remember, I am open to having conversations with Trump supporters, but you will have to source your claims that you make. Positive claims are on you to prove, so you will have to source them. Once you find them, then I will pull them up. I have conversation based off of factually based evidence and not your feelings. I don't want to hear common sense. I don't want to hear you don't think. I don't want to hear pearl clutching. I would like to hear actual stances and proof behind your stances. So that number is up there at the top, 509-795-0412, for you to be able to call in to the show and have those conversations if you wish to. But hit that thumbs up while you're sitting there. Also, I see that Bofa D's Nuts, that's a crazy name, I love that, subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you over there on Twitch, guys. And we have 23.57 left in the goal. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal on the link tree in the bio is how we fund for me to be here every day and piss off men, because apparently that's what I'm good at, because I should be a stay-at-home mom. Guess what? I am! My kids are fine. Manufacturing is booming. Factory activity just hit its highest pace in more than 4 years, far exceeding expectations. New orders have expanded for 7 straight months. American manufacturing is back. The stock market is at an all-time high and setting record after record because investors know America is winning. American exports are on fire. U.S. good exports have now topped $200 billion for the 5th consecutive month, and we are on pace for nearly $2.5 trillion in goods exports this year, numbers nobody thought possible just 2 years ago. Good for the corporations, I guess. The fake news and the Democrats are doing everything they can to distract people's thoughts from these massive successes. But it's getting harder and harder for them to do, with trillions of dollars of new investment pouring into the United States and more factories, more construction, and more high-paying jobs on the way. The results are impossible to hide. This is the golden age of America, and we're just getting started. We're already achieving heights that nobody thought possible, and the biggest victories are still ahead. President Donald J. Trump. At least it wasn't all caps. No, just kind of. It's just an interesting truth because this was CNBC yesterday.
Now, if we look at factory orders, this is a fresh June number, expecting up 2/10, comes in down 3/10. Down 3/10, of course, compares to last month, down 1.3, which makes it, unfortunately, the best month since it was positive over 5 in April. Now, if we take transportation away, it's still a negative number, expecting up 4/10 ex-trans. We're now down 4/10. That would be the lightest number going back to April of 25. Now,
what happened in April of 25 that made it so low that we're now seeing the lowest since April of 25? What happened in April of 2025? Anybody remember? Let's think. Tariffs. Yeah, Leslie, that was Liberation Day. Liberation Day. Like, how quickly do we think that platform tanks when he kicks it? What, Truth Social? I mean, it's already bleeding money. It's bleeding money constantly. That's why he started selling his truths ahead of time for the markets to move, because he needed an injection of money. But again, it's slowing. It's slowing.
Now, if we look at factory orders, this is a fresh June number, expecting up 2/10, comes in down 3/10. Down 3/10, of course, compares to last month, down.
Yeah, I don't like the way he says his tens. It reminds me of in school when you had the little foam 10 blocks. That's what it reminds me of. But so it's in contrast to what Donald Trump is saying. And again, we're not seeing the benefit of that. If there is an increase in exports, right, exports are down 0.9%. Okay, so there's not. Thank you, Audrey. I was going to say if. Never mind. I take it back. Newest BEA report released yesterday. But even if there was, that's corporations making money. So let's go talk about those tariffs. Let's talk about those tariffs. Scott Bessent went on Steve Bannon's show, which is just tell you the state of our fucking country, that a governmental entity is going on fucking Steve Bannon. Danny said, some finance gurus on TikTok have said the AI bubble has already burst, the finance talking heads. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of recession indicators. From what I'm seeing, and I'm not great with economy, but we know me in maths. It's not even that they're not covering it, Danny. It's that they're covering it up. Like, they're really, really trying to hide it. But we are seeing so many recession indicator after recession indicator after recession indicator, including, by the way, Fox touting the fact that recruitment in the U.S. military is up. Guess what? That's a recession indicator because people need money and they're young and they can't get a job or they can't afford to go to college. So they're joining up in the military, 3 hots and a cot in school. So we're seeing these indicators all over the place, but this government is trying to cover it up as best they can. But here is Scott Bessent on with Steve Bannon to talk about this one was the tariff refund specifically from Trump's unconstitutional tariffs and how they are having to issue refunds now to these corporations.
And Steve, to be clear,
go ahead.
One of the things that happened here, we've got the reindustrialization of the U.S., but here at the U.S. Treasury, I had $168 billion of tariff revenues that we're going to have to refund. When the Democrats scream, oh, the refund should go back to the American people, well, the American people had it. It was in the U.S. Treasury and was paying down the debt.
No, you had it, and we had no clue where it was going or if Congress had the allocation of those funds. No, we didn't have it. We don't know if it was paying down the debt. What we knew is that you were getting money from corporations who were leaning that down to us. DSW, the shoe warehouse, Larry, is owning our party? DSW? Okay. Not my party. I'm a registered independent. The corporations were paying more because of tariffs, because you guys are stupid and don't know what tariffs are. A lot of those companies passed that cost down to the consumer, so we were paying it. But they're getting the refund. So Americans paid more, and we're not getting it back. On top of price gouging, where they're not really bringing prices down very much. There wasn't even a lot of tariff revenue to begin with. So what are we talking about? How can you show me that you were paying down the debt with that? Because all we've seen is an increase, which, by the way, he doesn't care about the debt. We'll show that in a minute.
And the other thing, too, is that I said that these lawsuits that the Democrats are doing are corporate welfare, and it turned out they were. That they wanted to refund the money to the corporations. So now the corporations have it.
Nobody wanted to refund the money to the corporations. We wanted the tariffs to stop because they were hurting the American people. What ended up happening was that we knew that the corporations were going to sue you because of how much extra they paid. So you set this problem up and now you're going to blame somebody else for it?
Some of them are using it to reduce prices. Some of them are using it for hiring, but a lot of them are taking it into profits. And to be clear too, when I get these House or Senate members screaming, who pays the tariffs? Well, we sent $3 billion of tariff money back to Japan.
No. You sent $3 billion of tariff money to a U.S. corporation. So no, you didn't. You did not send it back to Japan. Because as Kilo is asking, and I guess I'll point out since Scott Bessent chose to fucking lie, explain tariffs like you're a 6-year-old. Okay. Let me think of the best way to do this. I'm the American government. I'm the American government. Polly Pocket is the U.S. corporations. Okay? And Polly Pocket needs to get their goods from places. Now, they could get their goods from the U.S. Here's other U.S. corporations who sell goods. They could get it from there. But unfortunately for Polly Pocket needs to use materials from China. For now. They have raw materials in China that we don't have here, so Polly Pocket needs to get them from China. When you import something that has a tariff on it, not doing a good job at this, if we have a tariff on imported goods from China, Polly Pocket has to pay me, the American government, to import that good. The percentage that you add makes it higher. So if you have a 10%, all those goods that Polly Pocket was ordering are now 10% higher than they were because of what you need to pay me. Some of them were eating the cost. We saw that with Costco. We saw that even with like Procter & Gamble. They were eating the cost for a long time. Then they couldn't anymore. Costco still did, but a lot of places couldn't. And they passed it down to the consumers who were buying Polly Pocket. Now Polly Pocket's getting a refund. Other countries don't pay the tariffs. Corporations that import goods do. That's silly. It's silly. Sudan drug. What's a Sudan drug? I don't know what that is. So then I'm going to move this because I want to... This is where Bessent says he's not worried. He's not worried about the debt and the deficit. So why are you talking about it in regards to tariffs?
Now with the deficits you've gotten, how do you, as Treasury Secretary, handle roughly a $40 trillion debt?
Real quick before we do that, Fender, you said strategic tariffs can be good if they're used the right way. If you have a specific industry or sector where you want to increase domestic production, blanket tariffs are just a tax on citizens. I agree. 100%. Exactly. You can use strategic tariffs in a good way, right? We see that with the EV industry, where we are trying to not crush our electric vehicle industry here in the United States and help it prosper and flow. If you allowed like BYDs to come in from China, like our market would just be crushed. So like that makes sense. But blanket tariffs, including on islands with penguins, are just dumb.
$9 trillion so it has to be refinanced every year, and we still have these $2 trillion deficits. When you look out over the horizon and see this continuing, how is Treasury going to handle that?
Well, Steve, we actually, one thing we didn't get any credit for at all was the deficit calendar year, not fiscal year. Calendar year 2024 was about 6.7, 6.8% of GDP, highest at...
Who the fuck talks about the... I've personally never, so maybe they do, but I have never seen an economist talk about anything under a calendar year. I've only ever seen them do fiscal year over year.
Ever been when we weren't at war, weren't in a recession, and we got it down to 2025 about 5.5%, and so we were on the slope downward toward something with a 3 in front of it by the end of the president's term. Obviously, with the military spending for the Iran conflict, and then the president upsized the military spending.
He's blaming the president in the war in Iran. He is throwing the president under the bus for the war in Iran, for why our GDP is growing so slowly.
For the redo of the military, because I think that Secretary Hegseth, were shocked when they got in terms of the neglect that had gone on during the Biden administration. But if we put just the one-time increase in the military to the side, I do think that we can continue on this path. And this year, aside from the military spending, we will either be flat on the deficit or slightly up. And I'm not that bothered, or I'm not as bothered by it, because one of the reasons we're not making progress on the deficit is the full expensing for equipment, factories, and ag structures, that is creating more productive capacity.
Everything that I have seen in way of building of factories and agricultural investment coming from the government spending is actually coming from the Biden administration under the CHIPS and Science Act, or the infrastructure bill. I have yet to see where it's coming from this administration at all, but he's fine with spending as long as it's doing that. Fine, so were we, but you guys were the ones who yelled and yelled and yelled and campaigned on government spending. You yelled about Biden's government spending, and now you're using Biden's government spending and saying, but it's fine. We don't care anymore.
So you are, I call it, you're pulling back the rubber band and creating this productive capacity that's going to give us more sustainable tax revenues over the future.
Yeah.
So,
you're taking a little hit. You're taking a hit on current tax revenue to build productive capacity to have more tax revenue. Yep.
Yeah, then you also create a whole bunch of jobs. So, it's really win-win, and you just postpone. So if 26 is flat to slightly up, this isn't wasteful social spending. This isn't the...
Oh, so the spending is fine as long as it's not social programs that help people fucking eat. As long as it's programs to build factories so that people can work like a cog in the capitalist machine, that's fine. That's fine. But when it's social programs to help people have health care and eat, that's a problem. Okay.
You know, the giving Stacey Abrams $2 billion when she's never had more than 300 in her bank account. So you know, this is real productive capacity in the U.S.
Oh no, he went at a black woman. That makes Steve Bannon's heart so happy.
You know, that gets us in great shape for 27, 28.
You said 26 was going to be the buffet. You said 2025 is how we set it up, and 2026 is going to be the buffet laid out. But you even acknowledged that your dumbass president started a war that made that impossible. By the way, still would not have happened because of your economic policies. We saw that the growth was slow. It was not doing well. Your policies were not working, and you were trying to take credit for things that a previous Congress and a previous administration did. But we continue. Let me see. Another person throwing Trump under the bus without realizing it by talking about Iran is Brooke Rollins in regards to fertilizer. She was at a Minnesota Farm Fest, which, by the way, Emmer, a Republican, did not attend, which I thought he should have, in regards to fertilizer cost.
There's no doubt fertilizer is top of mind for everyone. There's no doubt those prices have gone up as they were trending pretty significantly down before the conflict in Iran. I'm not here to talk about Iran.
No, but you're here to say that that's the reason why fertilizer is up. We have a new blame, and the blame is us. We started a war with Iran, and now costs are going up. Uh-oh, bad for us. Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
Hi there, buddy. My name's Kane. I am 23. I voted for Kamala Harris in the last election.
Okay, what'd you call in for, Kane?
I wanted to, well, there's like two things we can chat about. I'm probably going to agree with you a lot on the Trump stuff, but I was curious about some. Oh, by the way, I'm live on my live stream, just FYI.
Oh, okay. You're trying to. How many people are watching you?
Currently, just my buddy.
Okay.
But he wanted to tune in and check it out, so I thought we'd chat together. I was kind of curious about your thoughts on the Michigan stuff from last night.
Sure. What about it? I covered it this morning.
Yeah, I guess, well, I wasn't there for whatever you covered. I heard a couple things that made me a little curious.
Sure.
So, like, who was your preferred candidate at this point?
I
guess last night.
Sure, I'm not in Michigan, but when I talked about it, I talked about Abdul Al-Sayed. I think he had policies more focused on the Michigan people and pulling away from AIPAC money and making sure that money gets used for the people in Michigan.
Can you fill me in on what policies? Because I from most of the debates I saw, it was a lot of talk about like corporate money and AIPAC donors and stuff, where I felt like I saw Stevens talking a lot about more pointed things. I mean, he said like the thing with the bus with the kids where they can get glasses or whatever, but
Sure. I think from what I've seen, and again, I'm not in Michigan, so from what I have seen, it is policies in regards similar to Mamdani in way of trying to ensure that we have like universal preschool, trying to ensure there's transportation in Michigan. I'm not sure if he talked about any of the infrastructure in way of water issues in Michigan. I'm not sure. Like, again, I'm not in Michigan, so it wouldn't, my opinion wouldn't matter anyway because I can't vote there.
No, yeah, I guess I was curious. I think one of the things I was trying to tease out is how like DSA focused you were. I think the whole DSA thing is kind of concerning to me at the moment.
Why?
Because I think the people who are backing DSA at the moment, I don't think there's a two-way street right now. I guess I'll pose something to you and you can tell me what you think. I think with El-Sayed winning, I think all of the people who voted for Stevens are going to go into the general and then vote for El-Sayed versus the Republican candidate. I have a strong suspicion that if it were the other way around and Stevens had won, there would be like a lot of weird spite-driven stuff there, and a lot of them would likely not vote.
Maybe, but that wouldn't be on the that wouldn't be on the excuse me, sorry, that wouldn't be on the candidate or the party itself. That would be on voters.
It would be well, I mean, it would be on the DSA party, right? Like,
not
this is kind of what the
if,
DSA does.
This is a
they didn't endorse Kamala.
This would be a hypothetical, though, but only if Abdul
mean,
El
it's not
Sayed and the
necessarily a
DSA. It is a
hypothetical. We saw it in
hypothetical because
2024.
Abdul
I
El
mean, we
Sayed.
saw it in 2024.
It is a hypothetical because Abdul El Sayed won his primary. But if he didn't, and he came out and said, I do not support Haley Stevens, and the DSA came out and said, I do not support Haley Stevens, then yeah, you would see that.
Well, I mean, we can see what happened in 2024, right? Like a lot of the DSA were not, or I guess at least the media-oriented people were not as interested in voting for Kamala.
They
tried
weren't
to say that
classified
it
as
was like,
DSA then, to be fair. This is kind of a term that's come up more so with 2026 than it did during
sure, I mean,
2024.
they might not be like nominally classified as that at the time, but like we saw all the people who were like complaining all the time about how it was kind of rigged because there wasn't an open primary, even though there was only like 4 months left.
Well, and that's
before the
and
election.
even then, if you know anything about the elections in the DNC, that's also not true. The delegates, we did vote for Kamala Harris being on the ballot underneath Biden as VP. We knew that she would take up the mantle if anything happened to Joe Biden, so they did have a primary. And on top of that, they could have had an open primary if anybody chose to contest. Nobody chose to contest, and so those delegates by law are under financial, or the donations are under financial strain to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and the delegates then vote in way of how the primary voted in previous year. So
I agree with you, and I think what you just said was totally correct, but I think the majority of people on like the socialist or democratic socialist side would disagree. I mean, I think legally you're correct, but they would say that like it was almost in like a Trumpian way, that they would say it was almost fascist that there wasn't an open primary at the time. And that group of people is kind of who I'm concerned about. And
Sure.
I worry that like this attitude towards, and also
But I wouldn't classify that as the DSA
you know.
candidates. I think that would be completely different from the kind of communists that we are seeing, or they claim themselves. I won't say that they are, but they claim themselves communists who just see engaging in the political
Can you
system
give me
as
an
all as
example
fascist.
of like a person like this?
I talk to them a lot on in TikTok spaces. They just believe that engaging
Okay.
in voting at all, like, is antithetical to true democracy. They think that is fascism.
Do you know Hassan Piker?
I do.
Okay.
Not
Do you feel
personally.
like he's representative of the DSA, or do you feel like he's like has strong ties with the DSA at the
He has
moment?
strong ties. I wouldn't say representative, but he has strong ties with DSA candidates. Sure.
When he's like campaigning with these candidates, I mean, he himself is illiberal. Do you feel like the Democratic Party should be like fundamentally liberal, like not you know, I mean, they might put like a mask on and claim that for some purposes they're liberal right now, but at the end of the day, these people are like, I feel like a lot farther left than I want the Democratic Party to be, and that's kind of like concerning to me.
What's far left about them?
I think they fundamentally believe in like the abolishment of capitalism. Like they want like a socialist or communist state, or they and also the Israel stuff weirds me out a little bit. I can understand like an aversion to the whole Israel thing, but I think like when that's a lot of your rhetoric, it makes me confused about what your actual intentions are, what your
It's-
actual beliefs are.
It's their
These
rhetoric.
types of people,
it's their
I feel
rhetoric
like,
because we are funding millions and billions of dollars towards genocide in another country. That's why the rhetoric has come up in the way that it has. But also saying abolishing capitalism, I don't think that they're going to be able to do that in
But,
our
like-
lifetime, and I don't see that as a problem.
the purity test of the Israel thing, like
Sure.
I don't know of any Democratic people are like who are like actively. I feel like most of them have admitted it's a genocide by now, or at the very least are like, you know, believe in extreme restraints on Israel. You might not.
Haley
They might not
Stevens
say,
didn't.
you know, one state solution.
Haley Stevens didn't. She said,
But,
I
mean,
will not do conditional aid to Israel. I want
I'm
unconditional
pretty sure
aid
what
to
she.
Israel.
I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff she said was pretty tempered and reasonable from what I remember.
The video I played on my
I don't think
on-
Haley Stevens is
Cool.
like hugely
Great, but the
Zionist.
video, cool. But the video of her actual words that I played last Thursday was her saying, I don't want conditions on aid to Israel.
Yeah, but that can be interpreted in a whole bunch of different ways. The
No.
conditions that somebody like else, yeah, of course it can. The conditions like somebody El Said would believe in. He's on the opposite side.
But then
of the
she
spectrum,
could have
right?
said
like,
that,
absolutely,
right?
totally cut off.
No, hold on, because she could have said that. She could have said the conditions that I would want are an insurance that they're not going to use this military funding for genocide and attacking of Gaza and Palestine. She didn't say that. She said she wants no conditions at all.
Do you feel like Biden was like giving unconditional aid to Israel? Like, would you interpret that the
Congress
same way?
under Biden, yes, he said that he called himself a Zionist even though he's not Jewish, yes.
I'm pretty sure Biden put quite a few restrictions on like the types of weapons we were sending to
Sure.
Israel based on their actions.
Well, Congress would have, but
Like,
sure.
I guess, like, to cut through all of this, do you just think, I mean, we can talk about, like, it sounds like you don't care about conditions on aid to Israel to begin with. You
Oh, I
just
do.
want no aid whatsoever.
Oh, personally,
Do you
yeah.
think there's a case
personally,
where?
yeah. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Personally, I
So
would want no
so the
aid.
condition thing is like,
Unless it was humanitarian,
was-
I'd be fine with humanitarian aid.
like, to support like Israeli citizens.
If they needed it, right? If they needed it, like a USAID similar
Okay.
situation, but they don't need it. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Do you think like it's kind of important? I mean, look, we can talk. The problem is this conversation is poisoned right now because the person in office is an extreme net. Can I swear on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like a Netanyahu dick suck, and Netanyahu's fucking insane.
Correct.
So like it's hard for me to. I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, you know what, we should, I think there should be some aid to Israel because I can kind of see both sides, but it feels weird like saying that because the current guy in office is so fucking insane that I can't actually advocate for that because then it feels like I'm like trying to give a tempered version of whatever he said. Also, I guess on another note, so just to be clear, I never saw I saw like a couple clips of Haley Stevens talking about Israel.
Mhm.
I thought she was pretty. I don't know if I saw the specific one we're talking about conditional aid or whatever. I'm pretty sure she said she wanted the right to statehood for both sides. She was kind of a two-stater type of person.
Sure, but that doesn't have anything to do with her funding or what she wants in way of funding, what she planned to vote on in way of funding.
I mean, it gives you some idea of what she'd if she has an end goal, you'd think she'd like calibrate her funding around that end goal, right? And that might mean conditions.
So she was asked by it's looking like it's coming up as Bloomberg, but she was asked, do you think there should be conditions on the aid the United States sends to Israel? And she says with her own words, absolutely not. I'm not for conditions.
Let me just read this real quick.
Guys, while we're sitting here, keep tapping the screen. I got the little go live flag up there. That's like a little gift, whatever. Keep doing that. And if you're watching on YouTube and haven't hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs up button for me.
Do you think when she talked, do you believe her when she said that she wants a two-state solution? Whereas like Trump might want he made a whole joke out of like Gaza being a
parking lot and a
mall
resort.
parking lot
Yeah,
or
no,
some
I believe her
fucking
when
shit,
she says
right?
that. Yeah, she probably does
She
believe
does
in
want.
it too. Sure.
If you believe her, and if Netanyahu continues this weird like settlement culture where he continuously is like he's essentially aiming for a one state eventually where he can kind of cleanse Gaza of Palestinians and then kind of make a greater Israel kind of thing.
Yeah, and he's
Do you
also
think,
working into
assuming
Lebanon now,
that she
too.
was assuming that she's being honest about her original intentions, do you think she would condition aid in that case? Because that was her goal, right? Like if
She never said it. She never said it.
Sure, but she said, let me see.
She
So
lied
I'm
about
sure-
taking donations because she said, I'm just trying to get to the Senate race. Like, I don't know if I can trust her words. But she never said it. She could have. She could have come up and said, although I am for a two-state solution, I think that we should have conditions to ensure that they are not encroaching on land that is not theirs. She didn't say that. And she lost. I don't know, like it's done. It's over. And she
it was pretty
graciously
close.
it was close. She graciously conceded to Abdul Sayed, and she says that she's supporting him in the race.
Okay. 1 sec. Sorry, I'm not trying to imply that I don't believe you. I just want to.
No, you're okay. I appreciate that. I have no problem with don't believe me. Look things up, for yourself. I advocate for that.
I think I'm going to find it in just a second here. Is this specifically about military aid? I think I found a quote maybe. Do you genuinely believe when she said that she literally will not quote, or I'm sorry, will not condition aid on Israel in any case ever?
That's what she said. What else can I do but take her word with what she's given to us?
Okay. I don't know if I don't.
I mean, I can't make her say things she didn't say.
I mean, then why? I don't know why she would. I mean, I don't know why she would argue for a two-state solution, which I'm like
it sounds
Israel is
good.
currently headed towards like a. Okay. Do you think there's something else going on here? I'm assuming due to the AIPAC funding.
I mean, she is pro-Israel. That's who she is. So of course she gets AIPAC funding behind her. I don't know that the AIPAC funding is necessarily twisting her view. I think that just might be her view, and then AIPAC supports her. Like, she has said something to the effect, I'm pretty sure, like, Israel comes to her dreams, right? Like, I think we do see a difference of candidates who will change their views because of money versus ones who actually believe it and the money just follows. So I think she's the latter.
When El Said talks about the AIPAC funding, do you think he's implying what you just said, where that Israel is backing a candidate who already has beliefs that benefit them, or do you think he's implying that their beliefs are motivated by the funding of Israel, like there might be some other subversive thing happening?
I don't know that to be fair, I don't know that he's ever made a statement in regards to her AIPAC funding. Most of the questions that he's asked about it are, does Israel have a right to exist? That is the question he has asked, and all he says is it sounds like a silly question because we don't
I feel
ask
like he's mentioned.
Sure, if you could find that, that'd be great. He says that we don't ask that for any other country in any other scenario, and what he wants to see is this foreign funding that we do in no other way to this country. He would like to understand why we do that and we don't fund infrastructure or schools or healthcare.
Do you not think he's mentioned Stevens AIPAC funding in like any debates at all? Do you think he's
the only thing I've heard is that he mentioned it in way of what AIPAC spent to run ads against him personally, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there. It's just not what I've seen.
Okay.
But again, I'm not in Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with anything though.
Because
I'm not in Michigan
either. I played some clips on the debate and told people to look into their candidates and to vote, and talked about the difference
None of
in their
this is
funding.
contingent on policy in Michigan. All of these are about national policy.
Yeah, that's a lot of the questions that they got, because right now the national narrative,
that's all we
the national
about,
narrative,
yeah.
a lot of the times with these candidates is about Israel funding. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, and that's not a Michigan specific thing, so I don't know.
No,
why you
I
keep
know, but
bringing
what I'm
up the
saying is
fact
I
that you're
didn't
not in
deep
Michigan.
dive. What I'm saying, the reason I keep bringing it up is that I'm not deep diving into the Michigan candidates because I didn't get a say in that. I don't live there. I'm in Colorado District 8. I'm focusing on making sure Gabe Evans gets out of my district this year.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the reason I was bringing up the Israel stuff and the funding and generally like that type of topic is this feels like it's a trope within the DSA, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I think it's a weird kind of, especially, I mean, to your point, like we're talking about like a Michigan senator. I mean, by design, the whole idea of like a representative from a state is that they're going up to the federal level to give the best representation, which would favor their state when it comes to federal laws, right? So I think like I see so much talk about Israel all the time, just in the same way. Do you remember when Mamdani was asked on the debate stage when he was running for mayor if he would visit Israel or whatever? I thought it was a really good point he had where it was like, I don't know why we're even talking about Israel.
it.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm,
no, I agree.
yeah, I'm a mayor for New York, and I feel like this weird trend of like everything's always about Israel is kind of bizarre to me. And then it feels like there's some implication from DSA candidates all the time when we talk about AIPAC over and over and over again that makes me feel like it's the implication obviously to me is that a lot of the main, classic Democratic Party is being funded by Israel, who are essentially giving marching orders on how to lead the country. And his shtick was like, I don't take corporate money or AIPAC money, so I'm not going to be letting Israel telling me what to do. Which, from what you said earlier, which I actually agreed with when you said that AIPAC funding doesn't necessarily mean that you're being told to do something, but any type of funding can just be supportive of what you already believe. But I didn't think Stevens's beliefs were that. I mean, we could talk about the one quote where she said there's like unconditional aid to Israel or whatever. I'd be curious to.
I see you, Mia.
I think if we were honest and we asked her about that, like unironically, in any case, will you fund Israel? If Israel just starts like gassing every Gazan, are we still going to fund them? I think she'd probably say no. I think her belief on the Israel-Palestine conflict is pretty clear. So I don't know if that's a convincing argument against Stevens for me.
Sure. I mean, she lost, so it doesn't matter. But what I would say is the reason why AIPAC is getting so much attention in regards to not only the fact that our tax dollars is funding an occupation and a genocide, and that's a big fucking deal, is AIPAC is an easy name, easy way to show a giant corporation, PAC, coming in and funding into these elections candidates that they want to see based off of lobbying and things that they want to get done. And so it is representative now as a whole, like a figurehead of the entirety of a lot of the leftists now who are trying to move of pulling money out. They have become just a representative of that now.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Some of it feels weird and more like there's something. When I say weird,
if you want to
I guess,
say it's anti-Semitism, you can say it's anti-Semitism. We critique the Israeli government, not the Jewish
no,
people.
I don't actually think it's anti-Semitism. I think it's a conspiracy theory thing that it's just in the same way that like the MAGA people will lead conspiracy theories about like the deep state or whatever. There's no anti-Semitism in the deep. Just that type of rhetoric worries me a little bit. Anyway, okay, we've been on this for a minute. I had one other thing.
You will have to do another day. I'm going to give you the probate. I saw that you joined my Discord, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you what's called the probationary role, which gives you an avenue. There's a section in my Discord we haven't used yet called Battle of Wits, where we can have this conversation and other people can have this conversation. Community, you're going to be nice. We're going to have civil discourse about this as best as possible. Unfortunately, as you seem to be more of a capitalist than I am, capitalism has gotten you today. Somebody sent to kick you. But I did have a question from my community, which is what brand of mic do you use? What microphone do you have?
I have a Razer Head Shark, I believe. Headphone Shark something. My buddy told me about it. So it's just like a standard headset. Is it bad?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure if it's bad or what they just wanted to know. I have no clue why. But I appreciate the civil discourse and we can talk again.
Thank you for chatting. Yeah, for sure.
Have a great one.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's clear, huh? It's clear. It's almost crispy because it's clear. We like that. Clear and crisp. We like stuff like that. W's to Mia for the $10. Shark food for the Discord. I want to listen to my show. W's to Mia getting us down to 1357 left in the goal, guys. Yes, we will do that and get them in the Discord, probably with the probationary role, so we can keep having these conversations. I don't think they're bad conversations to have. I think Queen was having similar conversations to this yesterday. I'm pretty sure. So thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
Michigan, 65. It's Tim. How are you today?
Tim, you're banned. You are banned
Am
from
I
my
really?
platform. Yeah, you really are.
Well, I wanted to tell you something about Michigan, but if you don't want to hear it, that's okay.
You can tell me.
Well, it's called Operation Chaos. It's something Rush Limbaugh did back in the 2000s. And under the open primaries, what Republicans would do is go in and vote for the candidate that is least likely to win. And that's what we did yesterday. And then, just to let you know, the black community in Michigan
Did they register as
stand the
Democrats to do
Muslims.
that, Tim?
They cannot. No, you don't have to. It's open primary. So the black people
It's an
cannot
o-
stand
you
the
can-
Muslims.
Let's look this up. I want to see. Can you vote on Democratic primary as a Republican in Michigan? They have open primaries. I want to see. I just want to see. Yes, state law provides for open primaries. Okay, sure. That's what's happening. That's why it was so close, right? It was so close because the Republicans voted for Abdul El Sayed. Sure. You're banned, Tim. They paid the $50. You are banned because of your behavior and that you were never able to prove to me that you don't beat your wife. So, yeah. Presidential primary is closed though. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sorry. That was my old outline because I was looking for that clip. Found it. Let's go back to the economy. Trump says the cost coming down. Cost is coming down.
Of Iran. I had to make it. We had the best numbers that anybody's ever seen. But now you take a look with that going on. We have you just hit to get today. I think it's number 79 days. We hit an all-time stock market high. Yep. 401ks are the highest they've ever been by double and triple. Yep. And then I read where we're doing badly on the economy. By the way,
Because you're making the same mistake that Joe Biden made. I don't know how many times I have to say this, where the stock market and rich fucks might be doing well, but the American people sitting at their dinner table with their families trying to decide how to pay their bills are not feeling it in their pocket. And you just keep telling them everything's fine. Everything is not fine. You keep saying cost is coming down. Cost is not coming down for the American consumer and their family. And so you are making the mistake of just continuing to say shut the fuck up and feel it when they don't feel it.
job numbers. We have more people working in the United States today than ever in history. We're doing an unbelievable job. Costs are coming way down. I inherited, they talk about costs. I inherited very, very high costs, and they're all coming down now. The food, the groceries, it's all coming down. We've done a great
The food, the groceries, they're all coming down. They're not coming down. They were already trending down when he came into office.
job. I think we should be given an A+ on the economy, but I think that's coming. People are starting to talk about it. I'm wondering.
No, they're literally not. Your polling is just getting worse and worse and worse. Actually, that's what's happening, is that your polling is getting worse. But at the same time that he says costs are going down, he says costs aren't going down. He contradicts himself.
The markets were way up today. You had oil coming down to $75 a barrel. It was in the high 60s before the war started. Right. Yet gas is still 30% higher than it was. $6.27 here in California I paid yesterday.
This is a little different thing because they charge taxes on gas every time it goes down. They take taxes. I mean, they've done a terrible job in California, but I think we're going to have it coming down. The oil companies have to start going. They're making too much money, and they've got to start lowering it. But we're going to be down into the 3s and maybe the 2s pretty soon per gallon. We'll see what happens with the war. We have a very good day today. They don't.
So prices are coming down, but gas executives, again, anti-capitalism, are making too much, and they need to bring the cost down. Which one is it? So I'm going to play his 42%. He's talking about the economy and his horrible, abysmal approval rate, and then we're going to get to some polls before we go back.
In the economy, Trump is.
Which, guys, make sure it is a little bit after 11 o'clock. We are at 269, which means we were going to be well on our way to 300,000. You guys are doing fucking fantastic. I don't know if all of you got together and secretly bought auto tappers. I don't know what happened, but you guys are doing fucking amazing, and I appreciate you so much for the taps and the support. We have the little go level flags that we're still trying to complete in way of the goal, so thank you so much. We appreciate it. I know that the flying jets are the only one that's left on my gift gallery, and that's a lot. So if you can't do that, do not worry about it. Just help and support in any way you can, and that's including the taps that you all are doing that are fantastic. If you're watching on YouTube and you have not hit that thumbs up button, I would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button for me. It would mean a lot. Just helps push us out onto the algorithm and also ensures that I get put out there to get watched later. Thank you. I would appreciate it. And don't forget, we have thank you so much, Sid, for the jewels. And we have 1357 left in the goal with an hour left to go. We're well on our way, so we can dollar trade and knock that the fuck out for sure.
At 42%. I shouldn't be at 40. We have the greatest economy maybe in the history of the world for any country. We have $19.2 trillion being invested in the United States. And if I wouldn't have won, you would have had 10 trillion being taken out of the United States, and your welfare would have doubled and tripled, and we would have had a bankrupt.
So 42% on the economy. Not good. That's not a good polling number. So we're going to get into some polls on that. Except my husband's here. Hello. It's a man.
Hi, prices will never go down. They'll just raise at a lower rate because that's called deflation, and that's when your country is fucking failing.
Yeah, that's really, 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 really bad.
That's a really bad economic sign. So I guess if he wants to bring down prices, then he'll for sure lose in the midterms.
He doesn't care, though. He even said, I don't care about the midterms, to be fair. So he doesn't give a
The
fuck.
Republicans will never win again if they bring down prices.
Well, that's what we talk about with inflation, like what inflation is. Like everybody's like, inflation's going down, inflation's going down. Bye.
Fuck you, Spark.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
I love you, Sparky. But we talk about inflation, right? They're like, inflation's going down. It's great because inflation's going down. Inflation is the rate with which goods increase. So it's still bad because it's still up. Like, what are we doing here? I need to find, let's do that guy, I guess. I don't know. You know me, I'm always trying to find something that makes the most sense. So let's go to a couple of polls that we got. I'm going to play the Fox one first because it's shorter. And how his approval is low. Fox can't even lie to you anymore and say his polls are good, because they're just not. Please clip that.
Now, first of all, things should be going really well for the Democrats right now as they approach these midterms. President Trump's job approval rating is low. It's under 40% in the Real Clear Politics average. The so-called generic ballot shows that more people want a Democrat to represent them in Congress than a Republican. History is on their side. Presidents usually lose a lot of seats in the House in a midterm, and yet the Democrats are totally out of money. Now, the party So,
it's not going well, and the DNC is falling apart, which is insane, because the DNC is literally eating itself from the inside. Again, Ken Martin needs to resign, and yet they're still doing better. Now, this is even worse, because he's starting to lose it with the GOP, and that's where he's going to have a problem, as my husband said. They will never win again if you get to lowering prices. W's to Scarlett for the 1357 for your hard work knocking out the goal. But then I also had at the same time Hubbub. Thank you for the 1357. He said bye-bye goal. And to throw you in Eli.
What about Biden?
You want another one?
What about Biden?
Ooh, you want one more?
What about Biden?
Thank you, Hubbub. I appreciate you. Thank you, Scarlett. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for knocking out that goal. I appreciate it so very much. It means a lot. So let's go to our good boy, Red Bull Golden Retriever, Harry Enton, and talk about how Trump's approval is shifting within the GOP now.
Yeah, okay. So, we often talk about, that conservative base, that MAGA base. But how about where the other GOP lives? That is moderate Republicans, Kate Baldwin, moderate Republicans. And in a word, yikes. Yikes is the word. Okay, take a look at this. The moderate GOP on Trump, this includes leaners. This is about 30 to 40% of the party, depending on how you exactly look at it. Versus Kamala Harris, Trump easily was winning amongst them by 69 points back in October of 2024. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at this decline in Lake Erie. I mean, right now we're talking about just a plus 10 net approval rate. This is within his own party. He's just barely above water. Do the quick math with me. That's 69-10. That's a 59-point drop. That is 5 and 9 in the course of under.
That's really, really bad. How do you go from moderate, and this is what we're talking about, when we're talking about registered independence, you guys, for some reason, a lot of MAGA, at least, and conservatives think that being independent means you're some fence line centrist. That's not what it means. I'm a registered independent, and I'm farther left than the Democrats are. Most Democrats. And you have moderate GOP who tend to be either registered independents or registered Republicans, but they don't move as far right. In October of 2024, they were plus 69 in support of Trump. They're now only plus 10. That means they are moving away from you. And the problem that is that they will either, most likely, not vote. That's a problem for you. Or they will vote Democrat. We've seen that in special elections for like state house and state senate races where they are being flipped because the Republicans are like, it's enough of this.
2 years. So moderate Republicans abandoning Donald John Trump, and that is a big uh-oh.
And where and why?
Why? Well, you were mentioning it in your intro, right? It's the economy. You think a 59-point drop is a lot? How about this one? Okay. Woo! This is a
I love whatever's wrong with him. I just want to say that.
77-point.
Yes, J.R. Hayes, 2022 was the highest gas prices in American history. You're right. What was going on? What was going on during that time? And what was it when Joe Biden left? You guys never do this. You never do it.
Drop. Okay, moderate GOP on Trump and the economy. Back in October of 2024.
That's the same with my approval of Sparky poll. Okay, babe. Okay.
He was more trusted than Kamala Harris by 80 points. Now he's just 1, 2, 3 points above water. That is, as I said, a 77-point drop on the key issue that got Donald Trump reelected to a second term. Where
Number 1 in the exit polls was the economy. Number 2 was immigration. Your bigotry, unfortunately, only got to number 2. The economy and cost of living was number 1. And he is now losing you. Good. I'm glad. Maybe you'll actually use some critical thinking skills, but for the rest of you, stop glazing Trump's taint. Stop. Just stop doing it.
the Republican Party was lockstep and key with him, moderate Republicans have abandoned Donald Trump, and now he is just treading water with a group that overwhelmingly supported him.
And to reinforce, this isn't overall, this is with moderate Republicans within his party.
Correct.
Seeing this.
This is coming over to your side of the screen. Okay. Moderate Republicans within his own party. We are talking about moderates, and they make up about 30 to 40% of the party.
Okay, and where in the economy? Why is it, when it comes to the economy, where in the economy is it hurting most?
Yeah, okay, so you see these positives. Even though Trump has dropped tremendously, we've seen some positives on this side of the screen, right? All right, how about time for some negatives? Okay, moderate Republicans, Trump's net approval. On Iran, he's 6 points underwater within his own party, You think that's low? How about 17 points underwater on inflation? Inflation was the name of the game with the economy back in 2024. Now moderate Republicans, who make up roughly 30 to 40% of the party, have absolutely left Donald Trump aside, and he is underwater on the key issue of the day. If I'm a Republican running for Congress in those swing districts, I need those moderate Republicans, and they are leaving Donald Trump. They may be leaving those Republican candidates as well.
It's good to see you, Harry.
So that's bad. That's bad for you guys. JR, you said, do you guys still believe that inflation is transitory? Who are you talking to? See, that's the stuff that I don't understand. I didn't say anything about that at all. I didn't say that. So who are you? Who are you talking to? Let's go back. So here is Tom Emmer, who again wasn't at the Farm Fest in Minnesota where he should be to talk to and hear from his constituents. Of course not. He didn't want to do that. But he did go on Maria Bartiromo to talk about some bullshit in regards to the economy. So let's do it again.
Where are we on the midterms, knowing that we may very well not have that legislation in place? We're less than, 94 days away from the midterms. Americans' frustration with the Republican Party is growing. A new CNN poll shows Democrats now lead Republicans by 8 points on a generic ballot. Other polls show Republicans losing their House Majority Congressman, even as we talk about these incredibly far-left candidates in the Democrat Party. So what's your take in terms of going into the midterms and what Republicans need to do to ensure that you're communicating your wins?
Yeah, well, I think it's perception, Maria. The perception of the reality in our economy, the two need to meet. Right now, there are great things happening in our economy. Nobody wants to talk about 78 cents eggs. Nobody wants to talk about milk that's on.
What did Donald Trump do in his administration through Congress or any sort of policy to effectuate the cost of eggs going down? Also, where are their 78-cent eggs? Where's that happening? What? Did Trump solve the avian flu? You don't get to take credit for eggs. The eggs came down because the avian flu had run its course. I don't know what the milk-ish thing is. He's going to say that one too.
Right now, there are great things happening in our economy. Nobody wants to talk about 78 cents eggs. Nobody wants to talk about milk that's under $2. No. They want to focus on gas prices, which...
They don't want to talk about eggs. They don't want to talk about milk because even though those prices are a little bit lower, it doesn't make up for the gas costs that people are paying at the pump right now. And so all that the American people want to do is complain about gas. They want to complain about gas.
They want to focus on gas prices, which Americans are smarter than the elites in Washington give them credit for. They understand this is related to something that has to get done in Iran.
No, they don't, because every poll that we've seen, and even Fox News has run polls that that's not true. The American people are smarter than you think, and the American people know that this is bullshit. That they don't approve of this war with Iran. Oh, he means 78 per egg, not per dozen. The American people are smarter than you, and they don't approve of this war. It did not need to happen. It's bullshit, and that message is falling flat. But Trump was asked about what his biggest message is on the economy. This is the answer he gave us.
One, you're here to talk about the economy.
Right.
What's your big message? You want to leave one takeaway with this crowd. What is it?
So tariffs have been incredible. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Supreme Court gave us a little shot, but we're allowed to do it in a different manner.
Those are also being sued in court, by the way.
They said that, but we are anyway. I mean, regardless, we have the law.
We are anyway. We have the law. Yeah, the law is being sued, and they're getting taken to court for these ones as well. You might have to issue refunds again. We don't know. We will see.
I was doing
one. You're here,
but tariffs have been great. No, they haven't. They've been hurting the economy in the way that he's been doing them. So that's not true. So this was CNBC even had to come out and talk about how Donald Trump is manipulating the market and his administration is manipulating the market with their words. Now, the market does that anyway when politicians or whatever come out and say things, but it seems very intentional in the case of the Trump administration, and CNBC had to acknowledge that.
Oil moved pretty drastically on what the secretary was saying. He said that we could see an opening. He believes we'll see a deal potentially today or tomorrow to reopen the strait. As a result, take a look at oil prices. WTI moving pretty rapidly. We had been at $82 a barrel earlier this morning. At the top of that interview, we were trading at $80 a barrel. Now it's off by $3.55 to $76.79. That, in turn, has impacted the futures pretty rapidly as well. The Dow was up by about 300 points earlier this morning. Now you're looking at the Dow up by 513 points. S&P had been negative. It's now indicated up by about 5 points, and the NASDAQ is up even more than it had been earlier at 227 points. You've also got Treasury yields that moved on this, the 30-year in particular. We were looking at a 30-year yield of 5.25 when the show began at 6 a.m. It's now trading at 5.21. And in fact, the entire complex had been yielding higher. It's now lower across the board. The 10-year is at 465 and the 2-year is at 422.
How's the Dow?
The Dow's up 500 points. It was up 300 before.
Yeah, I saw that. No, I saw it was up 500. I just.
Oh, you were.
So, every single week, if not twice a week now, we are seeing where either Trump himself or someone from the administration comes out and says that we're working on a deal is in the works, and because of the hopes of that, because this is a fucking rumor market, the market rallies and crude oil prices go down. It's just market manipulation every week, but we're not seeing an actual effectuated deal out of this. We're not seeing anything out of this. Donald Trump is biding his time to try and strike again. That's what's happening. He knows that as soon as he strikes again or threatens to strike again, gas prices go up, economy starts going back down, or stock market starts going back down. And he knows that. He's just biding his time right now. That's what he's doing. But they admitted it. It's absolute corruption. It's absolute market manipulation. The Dow right now, it's over 50,000. That bitch got fired. So this is Dave Ramsey on with Fox talking about what Americans are feeling. Donald Trump, who is out of touch with that, doesn't understand it. But Americans don't feel good about the economy, and they don't feel good about housing.
But these polls show people still don't feel that comfortable, or they feel strained, or they're still feeling the effects of some of these high prices. So what say you about the way people feel right now in this economy?
Well, the problem is that feelings aren't facts. They create facts in our head, but they're not facts. And we all deal with this. And when you're looking at your personal situation, you have to say, okay, facts are my friends, not feelings. Now, what are the facts? Well, the truth is a lot of people feel boxed out of the housing market right now, for example. And yet we've got trillion-dollar debts in cars and autos, $1 trillion in credit card debt, $1 trillion, almost $2 trillion now in student loans. And guess who's carrying that? Well, these last two generations to come on the scene. Well, they don't have good feelings right now because Citibank has stolen all their stinking money with what's in your wallet. And, you know, Congress.
That's Capital One, you fucking idiot. That's not, you mean Capital One, the one that closed Trump's bank accounts because of suspicious transactions? Yeah, like we have to use credit. People are using credit because they have to, because they don't have funds.
With the student loan debt and so on. And so that's where those feelings come from, is they're jammed up in their budget, regardless of what the S&P is doing. You know.
But that's true. Regardless of what the stock market is doing, people are hurting. And that's not just a feeling. That is a fact. People are hurting. People are pulling from their 401ks for emergency relief. People are not spending on luxury items. People are spending more because they have to, but they're not consuming more than they were before. So this is Fox as well. They have this guy come on a lot. They call him the cow guy. His name is Scott Shalady, and he comes on a lot and he always wears ridiculous outfits. That's why they call him the cow guy, because the outfits he wears. But he has been touting on Fox News for a while now that this is a K-shaped economy. It is hurting the people. The people at the top are getting rich. The people at the bottom are getting poor. And the earnings look great on the corporate level, but not for the rest of Americans.
Just like you see coming through with a lot of these reports of our corporate earnings. I mean, things are looking very good at the corporate level across the country. Yes, if you drill down to the lower 60% of incomes, I think some things are getting tight. You know, we've got higher gas prices. We haven't seen groceries come down, but overall, labor market's still strong and resilient.
Why is debt a bigger threat to
Right, so the labor market is staying pretty steady, and we've talked about this because we're at a slow hire, slow fire. So people are not really getting hired, but they're not getting fired either in these jobs because they don't know their head from their ass with this Trump administration. But earnings, corporate, yeah, stock market, yeah, they're doing great. People underneath are not.
young graduates and jobs than is AI?
Yeah, I did a story on this the other day, Stuart, because everybody's talking about artificial intelligence really disrupting the workforce. It's already starting with lower level entry jobs. However, there's another big thing that's going to be taking place, and that is our debt deficits are driving up interest rate costs. Just like,
oh, those deficits that Bessent doesn't care about. By the way, we will probably see interest rate hikes, whether Trump likes it or not. I know Warsh is going to try and fight it because he doesn't want to make Trump mad, but They will most likely have to. But it's fine because Bessent, again, he went on CNBC and had a hissy fit about the K-shaped economy that we are in.
So we are starting to see, I got sick of hearing about this K-shaped economy. I can say here definitively, the K-shaped economy is over. So we are starting to see.
It's not.
I got sick of hearing about this K-shaped economy. I can say here definitively, the K-shaped economy is over.
It's not. It's not. People in the lower 60% brackets are still hurting while people at the top are making money. The K-shaped economy is not over. But also thanks for admitting that it existed in the first place. Oh no, I played that. I don't need that one because that's a double up. I just didn't realize it was. So let's do a couple more on economy here. You're going to like this one, Ari, if you're here. You're going to love this one. And by love it, I mean you're going to hate it. Catch-22, I saw that you said that you're 72 and you still work 2 jobs and you're still broke. You just want to be able to order Chinese food once in a while. Yeah, no, I totally get it. So let's talk about healthcare. Let's talk about healthcare. This Republican, who has no business talking about healthcare, is basically going to do the is-ought fallacy. What is should be. And we want people to get healthcare, but...
There's so much fraud, though, in the system. There's no reason healthcare costs what it costs. I ran the largest hospital company in the world. The costs have gone out of control. And that means your healthcare...
just listen to what he says again, his experience in healthcare.
System. There's no reason healthcare costs what it costs. I ran the largest hospital company in the world.
I ran the largest hospital company in the world. What happened with that hospital company when you were at the head? Were they being investigated for Medicare fraud? For fraud? That forced you to resign? And then they later paid in a settlement for defrauding Medicaid? Yeah, you do. You do know about healthcare. You did run the largest hospital. You ran it into the ground by defrauding it. I mean, not into the ground because they make money and they still do their thing. Because you defrauded it. Wah!
So much fraud, though, in the system. There's no reason healthcare costs what it costs. I ran the largest hospital company in the world. The costs have gone out of control. Yes. And that means your healthcare insurance is way too high. Medicare costs too much money. Medicaid costs too much money. We want people to get healthcare, but don't the system.
We want people to get healthcare, but
costs too much money. We want people to get healthcare, but don't the system is set up to just waste money like crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, look.
So then get rid of insurance companies. And maybe don't defraud Medicaid.
Look, the truth is you've got to come up with offsets beyond just fraud, right? I mean,
that's a great point, and I wish I would have had the rest of the clip where he has to address that. He probably just politician bullshitted, but she's right. Like this whole we're finding fraud shit. 1, Donald Trump pardons these kinds of fraudsters. But 2, that fraud in and of itself, as we learned with Doge, is not enough to offset the cost. What we need to figure out is a better system in and of itself. And people like Rick Scott do not want to find a better system. I'm going to send it to you now or else I'll forget. You know I will. Okay. And that better system is universal health care under a single payer system. Okay. My God, I don't know why that always happens. Let's go to this as the last of my economy portion, and this is More Perfect Union. We love More Perfect Union. This is not a long clip, though. It's like a little under 3 minutes. Remember when I showed you, was that yesterday, that I showed you Ben McKenzie in front of, you guys all know him as Commissioner Gordon, I guess, from Gotham. We knew him from the OC. As an actor, but he has been investigating into crypto scams for a long time in regards to coming up in front of Congress and talking about the Clarity Act. So More Perfect Union does an even better job explaining the Clarity Act, what it does, how it can be harmful, what this government is trying to get away with in way of crypto scams, and what these businesses are trying to get away with in putting your 401k, because a lot of them are in index funds, your 401k into crypto.
BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and a few of the worst other people you know are pushing to connect cryptocurrency into the real economy. And even if you're not invested in crypto, you should still be worried. I just went to a Senate hearing about cryptocurrency to try and understand this story. The hearing was all about a new bill.
Real quick, Mark, you said sure, but you would have to assure only citizens got care or people wouldn't allow it. I mean, that would already be in the institution of it, but even then we have EMTALA, right? So like we already have provisions to allow for emergency care regardless of your status. So it would just be an add-on into ensuring that, you know, whatever, I guess that non-citizens or undocumented immigrants don't get it, but I still don't see that as even being a benefit. Having single payer care, they would pay into that.
That the crypto
Is if they work, right? Work authorization. So you could do non-citizens be included because they have legal status.
Industry really wants to pass. Here's what the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, claims the bill will do.
This bill would strengthen power for law enforcement. It would bring new consumer protections. And you have to remember, the status quo is that we don't have any federal laws protecting consumers or helping this industry get built in the United States.
There's just one problem. This and all their other arguments are a smokescreen. The bill doesn't really do any of this. It doesn't protect crypto investors and consumers. It just pretends to. Think about the crypto economy and the real economy like two mostly separate buildings. Crypto is in its casino over here. If you want to go gamble on speculative dog-themed crypto coins, you can. But there's a firewall between the casino and the real economy. This bill tears down the wall. It allows traditional banks and Wall Street to hold and invest in cryptocurrency. So we're connecting the crypto economy to the real economy directly, which means the institutions that have your bank account, your savings, your 401k can invest in crypto. Since we're connecting the two economies in this significant way, you might be wondering, does the bill increase regulation and create a bunch of new protections for average Americans? And the answer, of course, is no. It still allows people to create fake tokenized versions of stock of American companies without their permission and without any investor protections.
This is where part of the problem is that people have been railing about in regards to crypto for years, but specifically when we knew Donald Trump was coming in. They want crypto to be secured like a bank, okay? Have backing from the government, that too big to fail bullshit from 2008 in regards to banks. They want them to be able to put your 401ks into crypto and run them like banks, have the security like banks, but not have the protections for you like you have to do with banks. They don't want that regulation. They don't want that restriction. That's where the problem is. If you're going to make it above board, make it above board.
A shadow stock market, if you will. It still allows the president and his family to continue making billions of dollars in crypto from unwitting investors and foreign actors. And now they even get to choose their own regulator. Normally, cryptocurrency enforcement has fallen to the Securities and Exchange
Correct. They would not be under the FDIC. Correct.
Commission. They're big, they're detail-oriented, and strict. But now, the crypto industry wants to shift most of that power to the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, a tiny agency, a few hundred employees and shrinking, at a time when they will apparently be responsible for regulating cryptocurrency and all prediction markets, both of which are growing quickly. Now, what happens when an industry is allowed to write its own rules, to dictate which federal agencies investigate and enforce those rules, to run wild, creating speculative bubbles that are connected to the economy we all rely on? Is there any history of this that we can point to?
The signs were everywhere, but now it's official, we are in a recession.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we did this with the housing market. It's stable. It's fine. It doesn't need regulation. It's not going anywhere. We can just keep putting our entire economy on to housing. That worked out so well, didn't it? And from what we're looking at, as Danny pointed out, there are heads that are economists that say that the bubble already burst, and that we're fucked. And it's going to be worse than 2008. So thanks for that. Congratulations. Love that for us. Okay. Since we were talking about Rick Scott and healthcare, I would like to go to this portion. I think this might finish us out today. I'm not sure. Your timeout is over. It's going to keep going. By the way, beating on the bayou is absolutely fucking insane and hilarious, and I'm so sorry. But I don't feel bad for what's going to happen to you when Oya gets after you. So Congress had a hearing with a few people in front of them in committee talking about the big beautiful bill and its effects on Medicaid and cuts. And they had someone specifically who I'm focusing on by the name of Professor Schneider. He works for Georgetown. what did I find? Andy Schneider. Let me see if I can. Center for Children and Families under Georgetown University. Schneider has over 50 years of experience with the Medicaid program as a congressional staffer, an executive branch employee, private consultant, and a public interest attorney. Most recently, he served under the Obama administration as a senior advisor at the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, CMS, where he focused on program integrity issues in Medicaid. He joined the Center for Children and Families in March of 2017. So he has experience. So I wanted to go into some of the stuff that he had. So let's do part of his statement first, and then we'll go into some of the mostly Democrats talking to him in regards to what is happening to our healthcare under Republican and Trump policy.
In closing, I want to sound one alarm. We at CCF closely monitor child enrollment in Medicaid. Our latest tracking, updated as of last Friday, finds that since January 2025, the number of children enrolled in Medicaid has dropped by 2.3 million. That's 2.3 million. That's as many children as in the states of Alaska, Delaware, Maine, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Vermont, Wyoming, and the District of Columbia combined.
2.3 million children are going to lose their access to health care thanks to the big, beautiful bill. That's what you guys wanted? That was America First. That was taking care of families. That's pro-life, right?
This is a statistic that should alarm every policymaker who cares about the well-being of children. We know that declines in Medicaid coverage mean increases in the number of uninsured children. We know that uninsured children are children without access to preventive or primary care. We know that their families have no protection against medical debt if their children become sick or injured and need to go to the emergency room. At a minimum, CMS should be working with states to understand the root causes for this trend and take immediate steps to reverse it. Instead, CMS leadership seems laser-focused on withholding federal funds from California and Minnesota, $2.7 billion and counting, through repeated deferrals. That is the reality of Medicaid today, and it does not have to be this way.
It's gross. Like, don't sit here and ever tell me you're pro-life. Don't ever sit here and say that you want better for the American people, because you don't. This is Senator Murray talking to Schneider about those cuts, the Medicaid cuts.
Mr. Schneider, I want to turn to you. What single piece of legislation delivered the largest cuts to Medicaid in American history?
Last year's budget reconciliation bill.
Yep. So everybody knows Republicans' big ugly bill passed more than $1 trillion in health care cuts, mostly to Medicaid. Mr. Schneider, how much in tax breaks for the top 1% did Trump's bill contain?
Approximately $1 trillion.
$1 trillion in tax cuts to the top 1%. Mr. Schneider, how many Americans are losing health care because of Trump's big ugly bill?
So in terms of the Medicaid cuts, the latest estimates are approximately 11 million.
11 million. So 0 billionaires lose their health care. They do get $1 trillion in tax cuts. And then over 15 million Americans, including the extended ACA tax credits, lose their health care thanks to Republicans passing $1 trillion in cuts for regular working class people. That is the math, and that is out and out grift. So it seems to me like the biggest Medicaid theft didn't happen in a billing office somewhere. It actually happened last year, right here in the United States Capitol, when Republicans passed Trump's big, ugly bill.
We are hurting everyday Americans, taking away their access to health care so that you can give tax cuts to the rich under this diluted ideology that has been proven over and over not to work of supply-side economics. Or as you know them, trickle-down, which, by the way, trickle-down was the critiquing name of it. Its actual name was supply-side economics. Trickle-down is what people called it to say that it was bullshit, because it doesn't trickle down. This idea that if you give them cuts, that the extra revenue that they make, that they're going to invest in their employees, is silly. We don't see it. We do not see it happen. Those same employees then file for Medicaid that has now been taken away from them in order to pay for the cuts, for the rich. But you guys care about the American people. Speaking of, I know you damn sure don't, and I don't want to hear about fraud. As we talked about, here is Senator Murray talking about that fraud and how Trump pardons and commutes it.
You agree we do need to be cracking down on Medicaid fraud and not letting criminals off the hook, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. So I hope my Republican colleagues will use some part of this hearing to condemn President Trump for pardoning criminals who were convicted of major Medicaid fraud. Trump pardoned 5 former executives from Florida who committed serious Medicaid fraud to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. That is pretty bad. Following what was dubbed, quote, the largest healthcare fraud scheme charged by the U.S. Justice Department, valued at over $1 billion in Medicare and Medicaid fraud, Trump commuted the 20-year sentence of a Florida nursing home and assisted living facility executive. So that's even worse. So look.
See, this is how I know you don't know what you're talking about. I know you got muted over there on YouTube, Ronald, but hopefully you're still listening. This is how I know you don't pay attention. We are talking about the cuts to Medicaid under the big, beautiful bill. That's what we're talking about. You said illegals got cut. No, what you are talking about, which even then you're still wrong, what you are talking about was the government shutdown over subsidies for ACA, the Affordable Care Act. 2 completely different things. Medicaid had cuts to it because of the big, beautiful bill. What they told you in regards to the shutdown was that we were getting rid of illegals on healthcare under the ACA, which is not what that was. It was subsidies being paid so that people could afford healthcare through the ACA, which is a marketplace. And even then, wrong, because the only undocumented immigrants who get healthcare are under EMTALA, which is a completely different law. They have brainwashed you so bad, or you don't take accountability as a voter or as an American to do your own research on the things that you hear. This hearing is about the Medicaid cuts, not about the subsidies for the ACA.
I'm all for major crackdown fraud. I think we all are, but it looks like we've got some pretty good leads starting in the White House. You agree? We do.
But he commutes their sentences when they're found to have committed fraud. And that's fine. Okay. Van Hollen is then going to ask Professor Schneider about who takes up that cost of covering the cost of people without coverage, which is what we already do.
Mr. Schneider, maybe you could tell us what happens when somebody who doesn't have Medicaid coverage and doesn't have preventative health care coverage gets desperately sick, waits until they have to go to the emergency room. Who ends up having to cover the costs of that uncompensated care at the end of the day?
Well, what usually happens is the patient ends up getting a bill that may throw the patient into medical debt. The hospital that's providing the emergency care has to cross-subsidize that service, and it will find the money for its operations from other paying patients.
So, right, let's unpack what you mean by cross-subsidize, right? What you mean is that people who are not on Medicaid, people, for example, who are on private insurance, people who are paying their premiums, at the end of the day, they're going to have to pay more, either in higher premiums or co-pays, in order to compensate for the uncompensated care. It was the care that was denied to the person who was on Medicaid. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, this is something that our system has always done. That's why we're saying the system is broken. And then we need to move to a single-payer healthcare system. All of you sit here and say when you hear universal healthcare, I shouldn't have to pay for other people's care. You already do, but you get charged more for it than you should. If somebody doesn't have care, they can still go into the doctor. But the insurance company has to make up for that cost. And so they give it to you. They increase your cost to make up for that. This would be cheaper. In the long run, cheaper. And everyone would have better care. Medicare for all, exactly, just Tracy. Either way, we're all paying the bill. Medicare for all will curb that.
Right. So I think it's important to understand that in order to provide these tax cuts to billionaires and corporations, Republicans not only cut access to health care for 1 million people, 7.5 million people on Medicaid. But they're also going to be pushing the costs of that harmful action onto everybody else. And again, all for the effort to give these very rich people a big tax cut. And I will just say, Mr. Chairman, that the cuts to Medicaid were very cynically timed.
Teresa, you said prove it. Read Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan.
Most of them, if not all of them, don't take place until January of next year. After
How'd RTP get taken down, Dano? What was he talking about? Let me check his live stories. What was he talking about?
the election, I wonder why that is. It's because the American people are going to hate what they see, and they're going to be feeling it in their pocketbooks, and Republicans want to delay that until after the election. That's what that cynical timing was all about. Again, all in service of giving very rich people big tax cuts.
Okay. So, it's hurting the people. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying it. This entire segment, probably. This entire segment. But that was Van Hollen. And then this was Senator Merkley just, again, talking about what the Republicans have done and how it is hurting the American people. You guys don't care. That's the point. You guys don't fucking care about other people. Stop pretending you do. Stop giving me this bullshit America first shit. You don't care.
Last year, the Republican majority used a bill that's a simple majority bill. And so they said essentially, we don't like this Medicaid program. We're not all in on this vision of health insurance for less affluent families. So we're going to cut it. And they slashed what will become more than $1 trillion from the healthcare system. And it will kick more than 15 million Americans off health insurance. And it will skyrocket the out-of-pocket costs for millions more. And where was the savings applied to? Tax breaks for billionaires. It was a very simple proposition. Less affluent families lose, and billionaires win. And that's not a philosophy that many of us share. Many of us disagree with that philosophy. We think we should have a foundation for families to thrive, not a families lose, billionaires win strategy.
This idea that if you are too poor, it means you didn't work hard enough. If you need help with getting medical care, and that medical care, you have to earn it, it's silly to me. If you care about families in the way that you say you do, they should have access to it. But unfortunately, you guys vote with people like John Cornyn. And this is what John Cornyn had to say.
That's, again, the problem-solving process always begins with you have to admit you have a problem. Now, my guess is we have two definitions of the problem on each side of the dais here. Personally, I think Medicaid spending is out of control, and I will kind of prove that case. My guess on the other side of the dais, we're probably not spending enough.
Because we're not. We'd actually spend less in the long run if we just got rid of these fucking insurance companies. We're spending too much on the health, says a man who would continue to vote for the increase in military funding. But we're spending too much. Okay, sure. Let's see, what can I cover here in the time that I have? I'll do this. Let's go back to Cornyn. So Cornyn came out of that committee vote where they pushed through, where they pushed through Todd Blanche, okay? And he was asked about what can you do about Trump?
Was saying as recently as yesterday that he likes the idea of this fund, that he wants to find.
And this was in regards to the 2 days in a row. What? 2 days in a row, what? What'd I do? What? I am focused. I have a lot to get. Oh, taps. What? Oh, that's why you're yelling. That was John Cornyn. Am I crazy? Hector, don't do that to me. Is that not Cornyn? Or is that Ron Johnson? No, that's Ron Johnson, isn't it? Is it? Or is that Cornyn? I swear to God, that's Cornyn. Now I don't know. Yes, what? Yes, Ron Johnson or yes, Cornyn? Okay, that's Ron Johnson. Why do they look like cousins that slept together? Okay. W's to TikTok for getting to 400,000 likes. Not Cornyn. Got you. Johnson. They look the same. I don't give a fuck. some cousins slept together somewhere. That's some Habsburg jaw bullshit if I've ever seen one. But W's to TikTok for the 400,000 taps. You guys have been doing fucking fantastic the last 2 days on taps, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. We still didn't get to 100 shares, which is insanity, because now it doesn't matter, because I'm going to be gone in 8 minutes. I thought I forgot my own damn senator. Listen, some days I'm like, which white man is this? It's like looking at a police lineup, and I'm like, I don't know all of them. Fucking all of them are guilty. I don't fucking know. What am I supposed to do with that? Actually, so let me just, before I play this, let me correct myself, because it makes sense. It's Johnson, Mr. Vaccine Injured Suicides, because that man is unwell. But this is Cornyn. This is Cornyn, and again, talking about Trump and what he can do in regards to Trump. Am I sure about the shares? That's what it says on mine. Now it's not. Don't gaslight me. Yeah, now let's do the same for Aries, because you guys being Aries, and I was yelling at y'all yesterday, and you don't tap. I don't know why.
I was saying as recently as yesterday that he likes the idea of this fund, that he wants to find some way to pay these people. Does that concern you as someone who's tried to fight against getting this anti-weaponization fund in place?
Well, there's nothing we could do to rein in the president when he said he likes the fund and he wishes.
Sure, you can't rein in his words saying he likes the fund, but I don't like anyone coming out in Congress and saying there's nothing we can do to rein in the president. I know he added in there talking about the fund. Sure, you can't rein in his opinion. He's going to say what he wants to say. But they are running Congress right now as if they can't rein in the president. So to be fair, his words are actually glazed across everything. This is the most feckless Congress that we've ever had in the history of our nation. And to sit here and say, there's nothing that we can do to rein him in. Like, you literally can't. That's literally your job.
We could do to rein in the president when he said he likes the fund and he wishes it still exists, but the fact of the matter, it's dead. And
it's not. We talked about that.
And that's all we could do under these circumstances.
And it's not. You blinked, and you blinked too early. You little bitch. Sid, thank you so much for the jewels. Oh, nope, not that one. Where was it? Where'd it go? It was Jeffrey, right? Jeffrey, you said, you don't like anything about Trump. Shocker. About the president. Shocker. What am I supposed to like? Can you give me an example of something that I am supposed to like about President Trump? That I would like to see that. That would be. Why are you here? No.
They would have sure as hell reined in Biden if he started a Biden crime family weaponization fund.
Yeah, they definitely would have, but Sparky paid for you to go away, so you have to go away. And then Representative, I wrote their name wrong. I thought I wrote it right, but I did not. Don't get confused. Now, let's do this again. Let's do the Ron Johnson, John Cornyn thing again. Representative Fischbach, not Fishback in Florida, Fischbach, a Republican representative in Minnesota, gets booed after she does one of our favorite things in our community that they try to do.
You know, the administration has used the tariffs for a variety of things, and one of the first things that they were using it for, and the purpose is to bring those countries to the table. They were bringing countries to the table because
tariffs didn't bring countries to the table. They asked for deals, and Donald Trump said no, which, by the way, again, Donald Trump campaigned on tariffs to both bring countries to the table as a negotiating tool while also saying we're going to replace income tax with tariffs. So, no.
4 years under Biden, there were zero.
She's going to do it.
4 years under Biden, there were zero free trade. I'm sorry, but is that appropriate?
Yes, I think it is. When you do this.
What about Biden?
When your job in Congress and you've been in this job now under Trump for 19 months, I think it's very accurate for them to boo you about trying to blame Biden for the fucking prices.
Is that appropriate to interrupt me? Do I get a little more time?
No.
Okay, thank you. But let me speak. That would be helpful. But under.
Good for them. Good for them. Keep speaking out. It's what you need to do. You need to show up and you need to speak out. By the way, Hector, if you're still in here, I praised you this morning. Isn't that nice of me? I said that either tomorrow or this next week, I'm going to go over for a little bit. The council meeting that you were at, and the bullshit fuckery that went on with that. And pretty much everything that you posted in your post in your Discord, I plan to go over a little bit, as much as I can. Just to show how they're trying to fuck with voting. They're trying to suppress voting. Like what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? It's true, Monty did. It gets worse. I don't wanna. I mean, Hector, if you have time and you want to talk about it for a minute, you can before I get off of here. But like, what the fuck? But I haven't gone over it yet. So, but people are in your Discord, I would assume. I got two. I caught two.
Oh, what's up, Bonnie? I'll make it quick. I actually am working on the video. So, long story short, Tarrant County is the third largest in Texas. We have a very large Black, brown, and Asian population, and we literally passed the white people in this area until they gerrymandered it and made us a minority again, like literally. So they've been closing locations, and you compare it to 2022, they slashed it by literally 45%, like half the centers. The judge on the Tarrant County Commissioner Court, Tim O'Hays, is known to do this, and he'll make crazy excuses for it. When he got nominated, the first thing he did is launch an election fraud task force, which they've been able to find fuck all since. Yeah, fuck all.
Shocker.
Then he directly went after college campuses in the 2024 election, not only because of their protests of Israel and the genocide, but also because, we know where college campuses lean. And he failed, thankfully, then. But then later on, he was able to do it under the name of cutting costs. He averaged roughly $10,300 per polling center. But then year after year after year, they show they have an increase in their budget and like buku amounts of money left behind to add to fucking prison centers and their pensions and sheriffs. So there's really no excuse.
No.
Fast forward to this time, one thing I can say, which I was actually pleasantly surprised by, the people were notified and the people came out. And it was that ruckus that started in that meeting yesterday that made all these people change their tune. Tim O'Hays, same guy who was for it, then he starts walking his tone back. He said that the plan was given to him last week, which was interesting because the other Republican commissioner said, we did not know. We knew nothing at all. So he just didn't tell them. And then he ends up saying near the end of it, oh, well, yeah, I actually don't like all of these cuts. This is far too much. So they told the election administrator the plan that he drafted, which he says is completely due to cost. He got to go back. He got to go back in the next month. He has to add more. They have to give something that's more reasonable, and then they will resume in September. So the big thing right now is that we keep the exact same energy that we did this time. In fact, even more energy for next month. So they can't come back with more BS because it's going to be 2 months until the general election then. So basically, we're just putting their foot on their necks, but it was crazy. Yeah. The guy got arrested and dragged out. Like people would literally like chuckle, and this guy would just yell out, "Quiet!" He was so pissy. He was a little, I can't stand that guy. But Alicia Simmons, who was there on the court, that's the video I'm working on right now. A lot of people are talking about the protest. They're not talking about what she said in there in regards to something earlier. She's freaking fantastic. So anyone here in the DFW region, please make sure you're paying attention to your local elections because she's running for Tim O'Hays' seat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The reason why she's running, by the way, is because her safe district, they gerrymandered, and then they had a Republican run up against her. So she said, fuck it. If you're going to try and take my seat, I'm just going to run for yours.
Yeah. But you see what happens when you guys bring attention to it and show up. You have to show up and make noise because it works.
Exactly. It absolutely does. And you got to do it enough. You have to be consistent. One time they can dismiss. They're like, they're just mad now. They'll get over it or they'll forget about it. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on us to forget about it. So we're not going to. Anyway, appreciate you for having me. Bye.
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 Hi, Ari.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what part about it, like, aside from like suppressing votes, like tickled my brain. But for those who missed it, right, in June, or maybe it was April. It was April, sorry. In April this year, Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law for the state of Florida that is the state version of the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
Right? And local news stations here have been reporting on the impact of people, like even though it doesn't technically go into effect until January of 27, the tax collectors' offices here, because those are the people that also operate the DMV equivalent. They're already putting those into effect. And so in Florida, the ID will literally indicate your citizenship status. Literally will say clearly on it, instead of just saying permanent non-resident or whatever, like they did in North Carolina. And it's very limited on what you can use to show that you're a citizen. And this is probably something I can go over later too, but you need an original or certified copy of a United States birth certificate, a valid unexpired passport, naturalization certificate, a consular report of birth abroad, that would be me, provided by the U.S. Department of State, a current a current and valid Florida driver's license or Florida identification card issued by the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicle if such license or identification card indicates United States citizenship, a current and valid photo identification issued by the federal government or the state which indicates United States citizenship, an order from a federal court granting United States citizenship. If the voter's if the registration applicants or the voter's legal name is different from the name that appears on the document, official legal documentation providing proof of legal name change is also required to constitute acceptable evidence of United States citizenship. But if anyone was there with me on Monday, I played a video of a woman who is 65 years old, served in our United States military, presented her U.S. ID, made by the federal government.
Right.
But her name was different on her birth certificate, so they denied it because she can't find her marriage license because she got married at the age of 18.
Oh,
so
God, I thought you stopped there.
No, oh gosh. Yeah, no, she got married at 18.
Right.
If there is any documentation that you bring in that is different from what you present now, and apparently they don't even accept military IDs or military paperwork in order to have any of this, prove that you are. Women are literally being denied access to licenses or registration to vote in the state of Florida because they're missing a part of their paper trail for whatever reason. It's a fucking clusterfuck.
Yeah, the voter suppression is insane. It is insane. My God.
Yeah, so you guys want that. I just want to remind you guys, you want that on a nationwide scale.
Correct.
That women who served in our United States military that lost a piece of documentation along the way, it's their fault because they lost it. Because, it's actually normal for someone to PCS 10 or more times while you're enlisted. So, and mind you, everyone in my comment section that were MAGA were blaming the United States military veteran for losing her paperwork.
Yeah, it's her fault. Sure. Yeah.
It's all her fault. Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So annoying.
So, just that when we talk about why the SAVE Act is wrong, this is why. It's because of the way it goes about doing it.
True.
Anyway, sorry. That just tickled me, and I gotta find a video. Chris thought that he had saw a video that was from a Fox News network, and then when I looked it up, it's actually an NBC News network. But I can't wait to see if Fox starts reporting on it too.
Let me see if I can find this comment, because yay, we have to fucking do this crap again. But thank you, Audie. I'm gonna drop you down. I appreciate you.
Yep. Bye.
Logical assessment. No, you said the commie Mamdani is requiring ID to shop his grocery stores and opposes ID to vote. You're wrong. You're wrong. I talked about this with Rib Tip. I don't think Rib Tip was here today. We had conversations actually in a video that wasn't even the live from yesterday. It was a different video. But we had conversation in the comments about it. He was talking about getting banned, and I said, I don't even want you banned. I think Rib Tip is very civil. We disagree, but we have good conversations, and I think that that's a good place to start. But Rib Tip said something to that same effect, corrected himself that it was not Mamdani. So can you stop saying that? Because Mamdani didn't say it. What was said was Jeannie Pak, okay, person on the city council behind Mamdani, came up and said to ensure that it is New Yorkers shopping there and not people who are going to be reselling, which is insanity, who's reselling groceries at a rate that is making any kind of money. They would do like a library-esque card. That's what she said. Literally her words, library-esque. Now, to me, that sounds similar to like Costco. You go in, you sign up. Sounds like an Albertsons rewards card. Sounds like a King Super, well, that's what we call it here. What do you guys call it? Kroger rewards card, right? That's what it sounds like, is the same kind of thing. But even then, Mamdani came out later, and if you want to call it walking back, you can call it walking back. Fine. He came out and said, absolutely not. You do not need an ID to shop at these grocery stores. That's what we were saying. That's all. So stop saying Mamdani said it because he didn't say it. A voter's reward card would be pretty cool. I mean, sure. All right, I'm going to end with these last couple clips. The Republicans are so desperate now for elections to win them that Laura Ingraham went on Fox News to try to appeal to establishment Democrats, moderate Democrats, and independents to join their side. That's how desperate they are now.
So clear-eyed Democrats, independents, work with us. We'll form a coalition.
Sure. Okay. Hold on real quick. William, you said ID is required for the card. That's an ID requirement. Cool. As long as that ID requirement is the same for voting, I have no problem with that. Again, I don't have an issue with voter ID as long as you make it free. Okay.
So clear-eyed Democrats, independents, work with us. We'll form a coalition. We'll stop the madness. Then once they're ground into the dust, you can go back to being a party that once had a reasonable core. And that's the angle. Here with his...
Join us. Join us. We know how bad our polling is. We know how bad we are doing. Can we please, will you get on our side and vote with us? And they're going to say no. And it doesn't get any better for her because she leaves us with, don't threaten me with a good time.
So as much as Carville and Maher may dislike or distrust Trump, remember the promised prosecutions that they are advocating for, Piker over the weekend. They're going to promise prosecutions of Trump and his family, then ICE officials, anyone who worked for ICE, then the entire system will be put on trial.
Okay, don't know what that means. Yeah, ICE officials who murdered U.S. citizens and murdered immigrants will be put on trial. Yes, Trump will be put on trial. His family and their corrupt crypto schemes and shit will be put on trial. Don't threaten me with a good time. Yeah, the entire system will be put on trial. There's no way judicially or legislatively to do that, but if we want to go from a sense of an allegory or a metaphor, putting the entire system on trial, isn't that what we're supposed to do as Americans? Aren't we supposed to look at our system to ensure that it's not some corrupt, tyrannical monarchy, to ensure that our system works? We're supposed to put our system on trial. We're supposed to test its boundaries and its limits. That's what we are supposed to do. So yes, we will put the entire system on trial.
Before it's ultimately dismantled.
You can't make that assumption. How are they going to dismantle it? How? How are they going to do that? Thank you for the 450,000. I appreciate you guys.
So Democrats, you got to nip this in the bud now. Because if the socialists get a foothold in November, they could end up being the dominant force in the party for the next 40 years.
W, tell me what Republican policy is that is beneficial for the American people without fear-mongering. Your entire platform, that's the theme of today. Your entire platform is fear-mongering. Watch out for the black and brown people. Watch out for the trans people. Watch out for the LGBTQ. Watch out for the communists. What do you have to offer? What do you have to offer? Because it seems like the DSA has something to offer that people want, and you don't. That's what it seems like. All right, so tomorrow is Thursday. Tomorrow we are going to get into some Iran updates. Don't have a lot, but a little bit. I actually have a bigger section on Max Miller again. We've been talking about Max Miller all week. We are not going to stop. Senator Moreno has come out and spoken about his daughter and granddaughter. Max Miller did an interview with Jake Tapper that did not go well for him, and now he's doubling down on it on right-wing interviews that he is doing, so we're going to talk about that. Scott Jennings has a spine. I don't know if it's his real spine or if it comes from the majority in regards to that conversation, but we are going to talk about it. Again, why the GOP protects predators. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Talking about Max Miller, I have a couple things on immigration I hope we can get to. I don't know if we'll do Spain tomorrow. We might do Spain next week. Nick Shirley has a new video. Yay for my community. Buckle up, bitches. We have to watch that monstrosity. Also, by the way, in case you haven't looked it up, we would like to cover Russia, Russia, Russia. The White House has declassified info on the investigation into Trump, but what the right wing is going to be disingenuous about is the quote, wittingly or unwittingly, because his dumb ass might have been used for Russia without him even realizing it. And that is what we are talking about. Hopefully tomorrow, or hopefully the rest of this week, Thursday, Friday, that we will get those covered. So yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much for knocking out that goal. Thank you guys so much for 459,000 likes. Fucking fantastic and amazing. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you so much. Let's make sure when we are supporting Ari, please, that we're tapping. I don't know where you guys all go. I don't know what happens to your fingers. Do I wear you guys out? Is that what's happening? I thought I wore you out in a good way. I thought you liked it. A little praise, a little get down on your knees and mommy gives you a nice one. I thought we liked it. But I guess not. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Guys, thank you for the help with the gifting goal, with the gift gallery. Today we had with Queen and with Sparky and with Mia. Thank you guys so much for that. We have one more gift in our goal, and we like to see that get accomplished this week. Who are we rating on TikTok? Because on Twitch and YouTube, probably just going to send you where I always send you. So, YouTube and Twitch, I will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, whatever time that is for you. Thank you guys so much for your support in this space, for the super chats, for the jewels, for the bits, and for the conversations. I saw that Twitch was going hard today, and I actually love to see that because Twitch is harder to get viewers on. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. And I'm going to send you guys over to RTP. Hope you guys have a bunch of fun over there. You'll probably see me sometime in the comments, especially on Twitch. I end up watching for that last like 30-ish minutes. Appreciate y'all. Bye. All right, TikTok.